Okay. Do you want to get into the depositions, ma'am?
Yes.
Miss Lively.
All right, let me just.
Angela was sitting there talking to me because she'd been reading depositions.
I was reading depositions all day.
So she turned to me and she said, and Miss Lively, by the way, like while we were talking, in most cases she would say Blake or Blake Lively.
Yeah.
She called him Miss Lively.
Because I've been reading depositions all day.
I just raised my eyebrows and she's like, oh, I've been reading depositions all day.
It gets in your head, man.
It's like a song, right?
It's not my fault. Okay, let's see. November. Okay, you can take your pick. Do you want to hear about Jamie Heath?
You always give me these choices.
Yeah, why not? Why shouldn't I?
Sarowitz, the Sarowitz one.
Okay, the Sarowitz one is long. We're going to get into it. Here we go. Doop, doop, doop. So this is what they have released, as if it helps them. Okay, this thing says it's 68 pages, but they're depositions, so they're like, it's not much on a page. Okay?
Yeah.
Should I just read it and then get your laugh reacts?
Let's go.
Okay. The lawyer said, starts at page 48 is the excerpt that we've got. The lawyer said, again, other than advice you may have been provided by attorneys, you can answer. The question is, this is Mr. Gottlieb question.
Now, we don't know this to be Sarowitz, do we? It just seems fairly...
I know this is Sarowitz.
Okay,
yeah.
great.
It was labeled.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me see. Let me just double check.
I believe you.
Yep. Video recorded deposition of Steve Sarowitz. Oh, they have video. Of
course.
Fantastic.
It's always on video.
Okay, the question from
they play it for juries when they don't testify.
Oh.
You know.
Okay, great. Question by Mr. Gottlieb. I'm not asking for your conversations with your lawyers. As you sat in the boardroom as a board member, I imagine a proposal was presented. It's a serious proposal. It meant shutting down an organization that I imagine you'd given a lot of time and money to. And all I'm trying to ask is why you decided to do that.
This is the Wayfarer Foundation?
I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
Answer. One of the deciding factors was death threats against both me and my family as a result of this litigation. Question. And as a result of those threats, sorry, what else did you want to say? As Sarowitz goes, and arson at my house. Question. And that informed the decision to shut down the foundation in what way? His answer is, you're asking me about my personal opinion, correct? And the lawyer says, I was asking you about why you made the decision to support closing the foundation. And he goes, well, as I said before, the board made the decision, and then you asked me about my... And then that is cut off. That's one page that we get. So they wanted us to see that he shut down the foundation because he was getting death threats. But they do not want us to see...
Or no, there was an attempted arson, or there was arson.
But they do not want us to see his clarification about how that affected his decision. Okay? That's what we get. Page 52. This starts...
I demand more.
This starts in the middle of a question.
Okay.
Have those threats been made to your knowledge against other employees, directors? Let's start with employees. Are you aware of any threats that have been made to employees of the foundation? Steve Sarowitz says, there was a threat made to the foundation itself. And what was that threat? I don't recall the exact threat, but I remember we had to get security, and it was during the course of this litigation where, I want to say this very clearly, anti-Semitism was weaponized against me and anything I was associated with, even though I'm a Baha'i. And it was weaponized violently and purposefully. And as someone who lost 20 members of my family in the Holocaust and was beaten up for being Jewish when I was a child, lost my great-grandfather, who I'm named after, I don't appreciate that. And I want to go on record as saying that religious prejudice has no place in America. Question. And I appreciate all that. And the lawyer's like, okay.
And so, I got my Holocaust wounds.
About the question.
Well, he also, whoever's interviewing him said that he lost family members in the Holocaust as well. So they had a little exchange.
Yes, the lawyer says, and I appreciate that, and I am deeply sorry that that occurred. I'm also a descendant of Holocaust survivors, and so I don't appreciate it either.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand the link between the threats that you received and your decision respecting the foundation. I think I understand you to be saying that the link is this threat that the foundation itself received. Am I understanding you correctly? Steve Sarowitz answers, in addition to the personal death threats, in addition to the death threats and kidnapping threats and arson against my family, the foundation also received a threat as a direct result of this litigation because of the actions taken by the people within this litigation, which were purposefully leveled against me and my family. Question, as a direct result, that anti-Semitic threats against you and the Wayfarer Foundation, you said, I think you just testified are direct results of actions taken by people in this litigation. And he goes, yes. Question, by which people? Steve Sarowitz says, I don't know who authorized it, but I know it was done by someone on the other side. The question then gets cut off. What was done by someone on the other?
And then that's done, and that's a wrap?
Yes, but then, okay, here's the next excerpt that we get to see.
So they're doing it again.
Yes.
They're just trying to get people all fucking swooped up into a big mess and try to get, Blake Lively's trying to burn them down. They're turning her into a RICO fucking.
But it was Blake Lively that cherry picked evidence, right?
Wow. This is just absolutely staggering. I can't even believe it. And
Also,
listen, I'm sure that, he's not lying. I'm sure he had, these irate attacks on himself.
Sure.
And his family and his businesses because
he made a really heinous threat. I can't believe that he said it out of his mouth.
Yeah.
I don't even know if these threats actually happened. He said the question was by which people? And he said, I don't know. I don't know who authorized it, but I know it was done by someone. Okay, well, how the fuck do you know?
On the other side.
How do you know that?
But what's that? Well, obviously on the other side of you.
Yeah.
Because they're fucking burning
are you
your
so
shit
sure
down.
that like Melissa Nathan wouldn't try and stoke some fucking fear in you so that you pay her more for whatever, who the fuck knows, dude?
A scientist said the same thing. Surely not Dale. Only Lively cherry picks the evidence.
Yeah, right.
But that is just so outrageous and crazy because we know beyond absolutely any doubt whatsoever that Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, or anybody in that camp had nothing to do with anything that would amount to death threats or any kind of physical, mental, any kind of warfare-ish kind of bullshit.
For me to believe that, I need to see some evidence.
These people,
you know what I mean?
are
you
just
can't just
unhinged.
You
bro.
can't just assume. Okay, so you've got some paranoid fantasy. What good is that to anybody? Okay.
And Blake Lively, she has the same stories. She does. She has the same stories.
Yeah, but she's not attributing it to somebody.
No, she's saying, she is. She's attributing it to the event, right? Which is what he's not doing.
Yeah.
He's trying to literally pin it on, somebody on the other side in particular, as opposed to the fact that he's embroiled in, a dispute that has, for whatever reason, infected people's minds.
But what's weird about this is that this is their evidence.
Mine notwithstanding.
Your mind is not infected?
Yeah.
This is their evidence, and they're allowing us to see that the question is by which people, and he says, I don't know. So, okay.
That means mine is infected, by the way. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Next page we get to see is page 98. Questioning by Mr. Gottlieb. Question, that doesn't surprise you? We don't know what the context of this is. Steve Sarowitz said, no, it does not. Question, you're the financier of Wayfair Studios? He said, yes. He said, you're the co-founder? Yes. Is Wayfair Studios an LLC? I believe so. Who are the members? I don't recall. Who are the shareholders? Steve Sarowitz said the major shareholders are Justin and myself. Question, do you know what the...
He loves him, Justin, bro.
I know.
He probably has a pillow called Justin.
He has him on a pillow?
that he just fucking holds. They're like, and his wife grabs it. He's like, give me back Justin.
Well, good for him. Question, do you know what the... Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. Did you have something else you wanted to say? Okay. Do you know what the ownership percentages are as of, let's start with today, between you and Mr. Baldoni? He said, not exactly. He said, do you have rough estimate? And that's it. So he doesn't know.
But that's so interesting because
he doesn't know about his own company. Who are the members? I don't recall.
Yeah, that's not unusual at all. There's nothing unusual about that.
Really?
Yeah, because he's just a financier. He just throws money at it. They don't know shit. They just show up and they go, so guys, are we making money yet?
God,
not quite yet.
That must be
In fact,
nice.
We need some more. Oh, my Lord.
In Jamie Heath's deposition, the lawyers keep trying to press him on the fact that he was hired for no specific job, and then he was promoted twice in 3 years until he finally became the CFO, in a rapid sequence. They're like, what is it you're supposed to be doing?
Meanwhile, it's
and Steve Sarowitz
when he asked about it, he was like, that's not how it works. As a creative, you just work, you just come in here and you just kind of melt into the place. And, you just let it all kind of come out, whatever it is, it just comes out.
What we know is you're the luckiest man alive because it doesn't fucking work that way.
I don't know
for you.
how lucky he actually is. Or maybe he might have been lucky, but it wasn't their luck that he came into their life because I don't believe that he did anything right in this situation.
No, he totally fucking fumbled. It's crazy.
He should have had Justin's back. He didn't.
That's right.
And that's a funny thing because, Justin Baldoni fans come over here and they scream bloody face, scream in my face, not knowing that I believe that a good bit of this could have been at least tempered,
Oh, absolutely.
certainly mitigated if
Justin Baldoni
he had just kept her out of that editing bay for that period.
Justin Baldoni would be sitting fucking pretty if he had actual fucking advisors instead of these fucking bloodthirsty cretins like fucking Jamie Heath, who was conspiring against him to put negative stories in the press so that he would hire Melissa Nathan, who told him to fucking lawyer up when it benefits her specifically financially for him to be in a fucking crisis because she gets to fucking manage it. If his life is worse, she makes more money. And then fucking Steve Sarowitz, who's like, yeah, let's just blow it up. Let's go to war. It's like, brother, all of you guys should be sitting on your hands and hoping that everything goes well. And instead, you're just like stoking fucking flames until they're like this, you know?
You shouldn't even be sitting on your hands. You should be proactively trying to heal the problem. Like, this is what you do. Like, again, what the record shows so far is that Justin Baldoni wanted war, that Steve Sarowitz wanted to annihilate them as if they were the scourge of his existence.
As if there's no possible negative outcome that could possibly result from this. It's just nuts. They didn't think for a second like, oh, okay, this might not go our way. Maybe we should step a little bit more carefully. Maybe we should be more conservative with our plan. Fucking idiots. I mean, give us the money. We never fuck up like this.
Yeah.
Okay, page 103.
It always does that to me. I'm always like, God, why can't I just get my hands on like $50 or $100 million and I'll show you how to do it?
I would never pull this bullshit.
Fuck no. No, dude. My shit would be rolling, bro.
I know.
Yeah.
So lame.
And I'd be making like super quality fucking film. But it is what it is. Here I go. I'm gonna sip some tea and listen to what you got to say about the rich guys.
Okay, page 103. This starts, I don't know what the question is. He says, I don't recall anyway. Question, you don't recall saying that? Do you dispute saying that? Witness says no. Again, I don't know what the context is. Okay, next question. By Mr. Gottlieb, do you recall giving an interview that is on YouTube entitled Billionaire Steve Sarowitz on Wealth, Philanthropy, and Ethical Success in August of 2024? He answers yes. Question, do you recall saying about Mr. Heath that you could pull rank on him because it's your money in October of 2024? He said, I don't recall the exact context. Question is that true? And then Steve Sarowitz goes, is what true? The question, that the money in Wayfarer Studios is your money. He said, yes. And he said, and is it true that in effect allows you to pull rank on Mr. Heath if you choose to do so?
So it's not Blake Lively's money.
And then he said, that's too broad.
It's not Blake Lively's money. It's not Ryan Reynolds' money.
No.
It's Steve Sarowitz's money. But I thought she took control of the budget. Angela.
What does this mean, pull rank? What is this word? What does he mean?
It means that, there's somebody who's fake in charge of the company because Steve Sarowitz, who is the grand puppeteer, decides everything, as I've been saying all along.
And he never visits the set, and he doesn't know shit about it.
Yeah, but he makes the bigger decisions, right? Like the investment in
pull rank, meaning like I'm higher ranking, so I can tell the guy what to do.
And his investment in It Ends With Us has been revealed at $30 million. So that means, by the way, that the budget, they talk about a $26 million budget, but the reality is that they probably had something more like 60 total.
Okay.
Which makes sense, right? Because that's P&A included. So it could even be upwards of 70.
I wonder why they're saying why they have this.
So they got about 60 million on the split.
I guess I'm not sure why they're including this. It's referenced in one of their documents for sure, but I don't know why. Okay. This next page we're allowed to see, page 120 of Steve Sarowitz's deposition. It starts with a quote, which is split. So I'm picking up where they allow us to. It goes, the truth about Baldoni and Wayfarer. His lawyer says he was barely involved with the film. Besides providing the funding, he only visited the set twice and was not involved in the PR for the film.
Yeah.
Do you see that? That's the question.
Oh, okay.
He said yes. Question, is all of that accurate? He said, yeah. Oh, wait. Could you ask me specifically? Are you asking me specifically about the statement that we provided, or are you asking me about the previous thing? Could you tell me if that's what you're asking me is accurate? Lawyer goes, fair clarification. Is everything after through his lawyer accurate? So he's probably looking at this document, and just for reference, I'm going to tell you that what he's referencing is this whole thing. The truth about Baldoni and Wayfair, his lawyer says that he was barely involved with the film besides providing the funding. He only visited the set twice and was not involved in the PR for the film.
Yeah.
Okay, answer.
No one disputes that, obviously.
Can you read specifically the words, because I want to make sure this is a very important point. Question. Is it accurate that you were barely involved with the film besides providing its funding? He said yes. Is it accurate that you only visited the set twice? He said yes.
And I just stared at Justin the whole time. So I didn't really see much because I was just looking
Everything
at
else
Justin.
was a blur to me.
Have you ever seen him on a set?
It was just
it's
me
magnificent.
and my bliss.
He moves like a gazelle.
Have you seen the way he moves?
It's like a gazelle, a beautiful gazelle.
He's got moxie. You can't just find that. You're born with it. Okay, question. Is it accurate that you were not involved in the PR for the film? He said yes. And that was all of the information that was provided in response to this third allegation. Is that right? He said, I don't recall. Question. In other words, you don't see here anywhere that it's actually false that I provided input and ideas on ways to negatively influence the narrative against Miss Lively. That's not true. This is all the question. You don't see that anywhere in here, do you? Answer. It's implied very strongly by this answer by saying I'm not involved with the PR, that I would not, since I wasn't involved with the PR, which is correct, that I would not have provided ideas. Also, we never did a smear campaign. Question.
By the way, I just want to add something really quick because, there's, people they get this idea of like, Elon Musk and all of his companies and fucking this guy and all his companies, all the billionaires and all their fucking companies. 10 minutes, twice, all of this. This is what fucking Jeff Bezos, he's like, oh, the most brilliant man in the world. No, he's not. He sits on yachts and he eats really slowly. That's what he does. He sits there and he strokes his bald head and he says to himself, soon I will have hair. Like everybody, I will have hair.
What? You're saying Steve Sarowitz does that?
No, that's Jeff Bezos. I'm saying the CEOs of the world, they don't fucking do anything, bro.
Yeah, they're
sit
living
around
rich,
there,
bro.
they're like, hey, what's going on? Well, everything's pretty good, boss. Pretty good or pretty good? Not pretty good. Okay, pretty good then. Yeah,
No,
pretty good.
they're flying their fucking private jets into the fucking college game like they are here tomorrow.
They play. They just sit there and it's like turning channels for them. Their little TV.
Yeah, they don't give
their
a
little
shit.
TV of businesses. Oh,
Yeah.
what's going on with my textiles? How are my textiles? Oh, they look lovely. Let me turn the channel here. How's my movies coming? I made that. Wow, I'm innovative, aren't I?
I know. Do I need to come to set to remind Blake Lively whose money this is?
Sometimes they're so egotistical, right? Sometimes they're so
Yeah.
egotistical, then they turn into like Elon Musk and fucking Steve Jobs, where they take credit for all of it too. Keep going. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to point that out because everyone's like, oh, CEO this, CEO that. He's fucking, the guy's barely around.
Well,
he
it's-
shows up and he fucking takes a sniff and then leaves.
It's convenient for him because he says that he's like the big mahuff when he gets accolades, but he says he's not involved in absolutely anything when it's bad news.
No, they're the geniuses.
Yeah.
Until it's, until there's liability, you know what I mean?
Okay, so his last answer was, it's implied very strongly by this answer by saying I'm not involved with the PR, that I would not, since I wasn't involved with the PR, which is correct, that I would not have provided ideas. Also, we never did a smear campaign. This is, of course, in reference to Justin Baldoni sharing with his PR a text message between him and Jennifer Abel or Melissa Nathan, I can't remember. But Justin Baldoni is saying, I was talking with Steve last night and we came up with this really good idea. Steve's idea basically was that we should have we should tell a story about how Ryan Reynolds fixed the script because it was written by a woman and he thought that wasn't going to cut it. And so he wanted to rewrite it so it's written by a man. And also he broke the strike. So he's a scab.
We also know that he was at least to some degree involved with lawyering up because he talked about it with Ayub.
Yes.
He went into some detail about the fact that these guys are ready to go. They've got PR and they've got lawyers ready to go.
No, but I was saying about this. This is the context where he's saying, so you didn't supply any ideas to PR. And this is in contradiction.
But I'm saying like there's
to what
another,
Justin
there's another
Baldoni
contradiction included.
I'm sorry. This is in contradiction to what Justin Baldoni has in his evidence. So this is a guy who's saying that Justin Baldoni was lying when he texted his publicist that Steve came up with a story that we should put in the press that's negative about Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, and I'm just adding that the Ayub shows that he's doubling down. He's doubled down on that lie because he spoke to her about having at least some involvement because they talked about he knows that there are lawyers involved. He knows that there are PR. Where did he find that out?
Yeah,
What
right.
conversation?
He does.
What conversation included that
Right.
information and what happened in there? Did he have no fucking say in it at all? Did he have no conversation where he didn't approve any of it? He's the big mahuff. He's the chief of the whole.
Wayfair is a client of the publicist. So is he really not
He
engaged?
clearly did though, because with Ayub, he said, we're lawyered up, we're PR'd up, we're ready to go.
Yeah.
We're ready to fight this thing.
It's weird.
So that means he's had the conversation. So he's just a fucking liar.
Okay, so he said, since I wasn't involved with the PR, that I would not have provided ideas. Also, we never did a smear campaign. Question. So it's implied strongly. That's your testimony, right? Answer. It's my testimony that I never gave any input on ideas or ways to negatively influence the narrative against Miss Lively and her family. It's my testimony that I never did that then or now. The question. Never? Answer. Correct. Even after litigation was commenced? Correct. How do you define negatively? The witness, Steve Sarowitz, says, it's my testimony that the sole intent was to use my money to promote the truth about Baldoni and Wayfair.
Oh, here we go. This is like this is the Kim Davies moment.
What do you mean, Kim Davies?
No, what I'm doing is righteous.
Kim Davis. Yeah.
Davis, sorry, Kim Davis. This is his Kim Davis moment.
Question. So if I were to take out the word negatively from this sentence and ask you, did you ever provide input and ideas on ways to influence the narrative? And then I modify against and have it be about, let me read it the way I'm modifying it. And then I will ask you the question. Did you ever provide...
This is some great lawyering. I mean, this is fucking... Oh my God.
He's trying to get him to admit to a small thing so that he can paint him into a corner.
He's just trying to say, oh, okay, so you have
inputs.
labeled this.
Yeah.
And you've put yourself in a safe place in this label.
Okay, so here's his
question.
question.
Let's talk about what you did say.
Did you ever provide input and ideas on ways to influence the narrative about Miss Lively and her family? Answer, no. Question. You never provided any ideas about ways that the media narrative about Mr. Reynolds could be influenced at any time? He said, I don't recall.
I don't recall. The old I don't recall.
Can you tell me about I don't recall in your experience being deposed by attorneys?
Well, I can tell you that that my attorney said that, those three words are a deponent's best friend.
Really? And so why were you...
So what they said was this specifically. If you don't remember exactly what happened, just say, I don't recall.
And then you don't have to answer.
And leave it up to the lawyer. Well, because then that's why the lawyers ask so many establishing questions like, were you in the house on the date of blank? Yes. So they put you there so they can make sure that you're not being able to, totally evade the topic and the situation and perhaps even potentially your involvement directly.
Can you imagine an argument with two lawyers like they're married? Like a married couple argument,
Yeah.
but it's
and they just start going, they actually like full on interrogation.
I would love to read that
don't
scene.
Don't fucking start with me. I'm not a goddamn deponent,
You're deposing me right now, aren't you? You're deposing me. I can tell.
But then, then he asks again and she like storms out, asked and answered.
Asked and answered. Overbroad. Calls for a conclusion.
Yeah.
Calls for a narrative or fucking whatever. I can't remember. Okay, question.
They're going to be ambiguous. Exactly.
All right, I'm backing up just a little bit.
Let's go.
Question. You never provided any ideas about ways that the media narrative about Mr. Reynolds could be influenced at any time? He said, I don't recall. Question. Do you want to spend a minute and think about it?
Oh my God. That is if a lawyer says that to you in a deposition, they have something.
I just want to imagine that he like leaned over and whispered in his ear.
Yeah. So,
do you want to spend a minute and think about it?
Take a second and think about that, Mr.
Sarowitz? Answer. There was one time.
Now that you say so.
This is so juicy. Okay. Answer. There was one time that I suggested that we should point out, after Miss Lively had said that Ryan Reynolds rewrote a scene, that we should point out that that was a scene written by a female writer. That was the sole time I remember. Question. And why did you point that out?
You fucking dirtpig.
Answer. I don't recall.
Oh, you're such a misogynistic, lying piece of fucking billionaire shit.
Question. What influence would it have in coverage of the dispute to point out that it was a female writer? His answer, I don't know. The lawyer goes, really? That's really your testimony as you sit here today. You really don't know why it would have mattered if there had been coverage that followed the suggestion that you made. The witness said, I don't know.
You're so caught. You're such a coward.
It's cut off. Okay.
What
I don't know what
a coward. He's a coward. You know what? I was just playing around when I was calling him all those other names. Let me call him the name that I actually think he is. He is a fucking coward. He said some shit and he can't even stand up like a fucking dude and say, yeah, I said that. I said it.
I want to go find it real quick.
What a coward. And, he tried to lie. It's so funny. Lawyers, bro. These lawyers are worth their gold, bro. They got sacks of money, and this is why. Okay. Man, where are we going to go on vacation after we whoop these asses? Fucking A.
Should I go find it or not? Should I navigate to it?
No, keep going.
Okay. Because you recall which one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
It's the text message between Justin Baldoni and his publicist
where
he was
Justin
like,
says, hey.
Steve Sarowitz had this great idea that we were going to go after Ryan Reynolds for doing the work a woman couldn't do. He said that it was that the
and
script,
also the WJ scab.
That he said that Ryan said the script was a disaster, was what he wanted them to print about it.
Right. And
because
the funny thing about that is, and there's some testimony to that we'll get to, but the funny thing about that was it looks like Justin Baldoni was asked, and did you yourself also agree that the script was a disaster? Which, by the way, I want to just quickly, I just make sure, remind me, because I want to defend the writer on that, because writers get kind of fucked.
Yeah, dude.
Because
for sure.
In
this whole thing, she loses.
Well, no. The reason they get fucked isn't because of anything you're probably thinking. They get fucked because they don't get, so WJ requires payment for every draft they do, basically, or for every round they do, which includes a certain number of rewrites and so on and so forth. So basically, the WGA controls how much work goes into a screenplay based on the actual money being received by the writer. Sounds like a good thing, except the problem is that producers stop paying the writers because they just can't afford to go up to, whatever, maybe $1 million on a script to get it to perfection.
Yeah.
And the writers aren't legally allowed to touch the shit unless they get paid.
Right.
So they end up writing a draft that's 2 or 3, drafts or 4 drafts
away from good.
My best work is 20, 30 drafts.
Yeah, of course. If the script is a disaster, it's because they didn't pay for it, right?
And nobody going to pay for 20, 30 drafts.
That's right.
So it's not bad writing. It's really ultimately where I think the union falls short for writers and giving writers the latitude to protect the quality of their work. They're not allowed to do it. It's really fucking weird.
A scientist makes a great point. Steve Sarowitz was talking about how he was threatened. His family was threatened.
Yeah.
A scientist said, the man who threatened to kidnap Sarowitz's daughter said that it was because he realized Sarowitz was a billionaire.
Oh, so ransom.
Yes. You're a billionaire. You're going to get targeted.
So you get targeted for your money.
Yes. That makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
A scientist said, if you're enjoying Gottlieb handling Sarowitz, wait until you get to see Ezra Hudson absolutely handling Heath's ass.
It's exciting.
So great.
Yeah, it's exciting. I love it.
Austin said, I suggested to a few lawyers to take acting classes just to be able to mimic triggering mannerisms and other strategies in depositions.
Yeah, it's
that
smart.
is fucking cold-hearted, bro.
It's super smart is what it is.
Savage.
Yeah, it's like me saying with directors, like directors need to take acting lessons.
Okay, continuing.
Yeah.
This is page 126. I don't know what the context of this question is here, but it starts with, had made on It Ends With Us by Q2 2025. How would I figure that out? Answer is, I don't know. Question, you really cannot think of a single piece of paper or document or file I could look at that would tell me that? The witness says, I'm not involved in the day-to-day running of Wayfair. I imagine you could talk to Wayfair management and ask them. Gottlieb says, no one ever provided any kind of a report to you in the ordinary course of your duties and responsibilities as the co-chairman of the studio that told you how much money this movie made? And he says, I don't recall. The question, do you recall giving interviews in which you talked about how much money the movie made opening weekend? He said, yes. The question is, do you recall how much? He said, no. Do you recall it being more than you anticipated? Yes, is the answer. Okay.
Can you believe this? This is like where it just becomes so crushing. It's like all this in a success.
She made them rich, and this is the fucking thanks she gets.
Now I got this, these fools, they want to talk about how, the reason the movie was successful is because it was Colleen Hoover. And I said, well, 6 million people bought the book, so out of 120 million people that watched the trailer in the first night, 6 million of them are accounted for by the book. And there was like, have you ever heard of fucking libraries? I was like, okay, fine, let's triple it.
Let's triple it.
Let's fucking triple it.
Still doesn't even
You
account.
win, we'll triple it. 18 million out of 120 million, 18 million read the fucking book.
Yeah.
You know where the other 100 million came from? Taylor Swift.
Yep.
That's where
right.
they came from. Taylor Swift, packaged and delivered by producer, PGA, Blake Lively.
Yeah, it's also Sony marketing is really clever.
Of course, the marketing is involved, but when you've got Taylor Swift to market, it's almost like pushing buttons, especially since they're automatically good at things.
It is really incredible too, because they trashed the Sony's marketing that it wasn't sensitive enough to DV survivors, and it had too many references to flowers, I guess, or whatever they wanted to pin on Blake. But it made such a huge success. I don't know why anybody doesn't feel stupid criticizing it. Like, obviously Sony did that because it fucking worked. It's weird.
We should just make all of our regulars mods.
We should. That'd be
just
great.
like, we have like an army of mods.
Yeah, perfect. That means that
when the trial happens,
if you're fucking up in our comment section, there's like nowhere to hide. Okay. Do you want to hear this?
Yeah, please, I do.
Are we getting bored of this or
I'm not. This is downhill skiing for me, man. Let's go.
The question, and that is I imagine, genuine sentiment you were expressing to Mr. Baldoni. He said yes. I don't know what the context is. And do you recall being very proud of the success of this movie in its opening days, right? He said yes. Okay, and you say, and then the lawyer is reading.
Imagine that. Proud of the opening. Imagine that.
The lawyer reads, your interviews have been sterling. Do you see that? The answer is yes. The lawyer questions, had you been watching some of Mr. Baldoni's press interviews in connection with the release of the film? He said yes. And you thought they were sterling? Yes. Did you?
He's sterling, you see. He's so sterling. Have you looked deep into his eyes? When you look deep into his eyes, it's like looking into silver. I love him so much. What's your question?
Did you participate in any respect in any of the preparation in advance of Mr. Baldoni's interviews? He said,
we had to dance.
He said no. Did you yourself do some interviews in the first couple weeks that the film was released? Is that right? Can you be more specific? Sure. Did you do any media interviews in conjunction with the release of It Ends With Us? So, let's call it the first couple weeks of October 2024. He said not specifically. Did you do any media interviews that occurred around that time? He said yes. Question, and did you prepare for those interviews with the assistance of any people in advance of your interviews? Answer, sorry, I'm not trying to hesitate. I'm just trying to remember.
Oh, geez, let me go through the files in my brain.
Not really. Question, did you ever receive any kind of talking points or briefing materials in advance of the media interviews you were doing in the first 2 weeks of August 2024? Not that I recall. Did you ever discuss with Mr. Baldoni in advance of doing the interviews that you did what might be asked and what you might say? He said yes. And the lawyer says, okay, I will come back to that.
Excellent. We have that established.
Okay. This is the next section.
I couldn't, I sometimes I have fantasies that I could be a lawyer, but I couldn't just, I don't know that I could, I think I could get sharp like that, but they're just brilliant. Like the way that they, like a brilliant lawyer, the way that they like set you up, because we're going to get back to that.
Yeah.
And that's like a fucking worm in his head, bro. Like they're like, what do you mean we're going to get back to that? Like your head is like, what do you mean you're going to get back to that? What do I have to remember? You're just going to fucking deny everything. Like you just start having a conversation with yourself. They set you up to start like, it is ultimately designed so that they can throw a question at you that you just trip the fuck over and just spill the beans. You're like, oh, fuck, did I say that shit? If you're somebody holding it back, it's a way to trap you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what Brian Friedman was talking about in those interviews when he was like fucking salivating about deposing Blake Lively and saying he wanted to sell tickets at Madison Square Garden and all of this shit, is because he recognizes that this is psychological warfare that the good lawyers recognize that they do for their clients, except these guys are doing it for their clients and for the cause that they're being paid to defend, right? And Brian Friedman was just doing it like for himself, Yes. Like why would you put yourself on a pedestal like that? I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know either. Don't ask me, Angela.
This next one, question. Who did you ask? Answer, ask what? Who did you ask the question to? Did we have any idea that this would be promoted this way? Sarowitz said, I never asked. Question, you never asked anyone that question? He said, correct. Question, okay. Did you ever review any of the marketing materials for the film that were created by Wayfarer? He said, no. Did you ever review any of the marketing materials for the film that were created by Sony? He said, no.
God, I wish I could get a pile of money that just didn't do anything.
Like, you didn't have to do anything.
Fucking dude, you don't even have to show them anything and be like, how's things going? Yeah, they're pretty good over there.
Yeah.
All right, good, thanks.
Yeah,
see
you
you
just
later.
send the money. That's all you got to do. Have you ever seen any marketing materials of any kind about the film that were created or influenced or edited by Miss Lively? He said, I was not involved in the marketing. And so, the lawyer is asking, therefore, you would have no way of knowing whether Miss Lively had any involvement at all in how the film was marketed. Sarowitz said, I was told that Miss Lively and Sony took over the marketing by Jamie.
Sony was literally brought on to do the marketing. They're the distributor. That
is an admission. I don't know why this is in their evidence for their motion for summary judgment.
Yeah.
I was told by Jamie that Miss Lively and Sony took over the marketing.
So
okay.
If that's true,
so where do you get that information?
Then why didn't you sue Sony?
That's right. Okay. Yeah.
Told you she had to have a conspirator.
I was told that Miss Lively and Sony took over the marketing. Weird how they're not named, don't you think?
How's Sony?
Yeah, how Sony's not being sued. It's just Lively, just her alone. But these guys are putting them together. Okay. Question. Would it surprise you to learn that every document that has been produced in this case that... And then it cuts off. You don't get to see the rest. What's up?
Okay. I narrowed it down for us. There's approximately, for Sony Pictures, there's approximately 9,759 employees. So it's one of them.
That is so many. Oh
they
my
have
God.
10,000 fucking employees and they just call it Sony.
But Lively calls the shots.
Lively calls the shots. She took control of a 10,000 employee firm. It belongs to her basically now.
A major corporation. Okay.
10,000 employees. You know that I'm surprised it took me all these months to get that stat down because I'm just gonna slap people about the face. Oh, she took over the 10,000 employee Sony Studios, did she? Made of presidents and vice presidents and executive presidents of every kind of president ever created except of the United States, maybe. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm rambling.
Okay, page 152.
Yeah.
Steve Sarowitz is being asked, I guess this is a quote he's being asked about, but the quote is cut off. So it starts with, paying for the PR teams, that's you loving me and I appreciate you.
Paying for the PR teams?
Paying for the PR teams, that's you loving me and I appreciate you.
Who's he saying that to?
I don't know. Let's find out.
It's him saying it to somebody?
No, this is just a quote. I don't understand. It's not attributed because it's cut off. I only get these little snippets of the... So this is just it's cherry picked, Dale.
I see.
It's cherry picked.
Wow.
Okay, so he said yes. Question, was Wayfarer paying for the PR teams? Answer, I don't know the details. I just literally don't. Steve Sarowitz.
I know nothing except that Blake Lively stole everything.
Steve Sarowitz, everybody, doesn't know shit about his own company.
He only knows all the bad shit.
What it
doesn't
does.
know any of the good shit.
But he's got a real strong opinion about Blake Lively.
He sure fucking does.
Based
and
on
all the horrible things she does in a day.
Based on only hearsay.
Yeah.
He's such fucking trigger happy.
Fucking Blake Lively. What do you think Sony was there to do?
Okay, let me finish.
Hold your fucking hand?
I bet they would have loved it more. Oh, they would have loved a hug, actually.
They probably wanted a big, deep, one of those ones where you can feel the breathing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that your heartbeat? Wow.
Steve Sarowitz says, I don't know the details. I just literally don't. Question, would you have to approve that before Wayfarer hired a PR team? He said, no. Question, and in this case, you're aware that the agency group was retained to perform crisis communication services. Is that correct? He said, yes, for the reasons I've already stated. I can go through them again if you'd like. Question, well, that's not my question. Did you approve the hiring of the agency group? He said, no. Were you asked your opinion on it before they were retained? He said, no. Did you vet the agency group before they were retained? He said, no. Did you have any conversation with Miss Melissa Nathan before they were retained? No.
Do you wipe your own butt?
How about street
Sometimes.
relations? Are you familiar with street relations? Yes. You are aware that street relations was at one point retained by Wayfarer? Yes. Were you asked for your view on that retention? I don't recall. Did you approve? Sorry, strike that. Did you speak with Jed Wallace, the head of street relations, before street relations was retained? I don't recall. Come on. Do you recall anything about the retention of street relations? Answer, they were retained in regards to, actually, let me change my answer. No, I was not consulted before they were hired. I just had to remember. Question, okay, what did you just remember? Steve Sarowitz says, I just remembered when they were hired because at that point I was not involved in the day-to-day. Question, so when were they retained? He said, I believe, and I'm not 100% sure, sometime around August of 2024.
August of 2024, people.
I wasn't involved in that decision. Question, how do you recall learning about that? I don't recall. How do you recall learning?
August 2nd or something?
No, that was Melissa Nathan.
Yeah.
The agency group is later. I think it's mid-August.
Okay.
I can't remember. I have to look it up, but it was really early. Question, what do you recall learning about street relations? Steve Sarowitz says, not 100% sure because we've been through this case for, I guess it's been a year now that we've gone through this. And so there's been a lot that's been reported. So in my memory, it may be a little bit confused, but to my knowledge now, I'm not sure if I knew it then. Street relations was monitoring the negative press against us that was being put out by the Lively camp. Question, what does that mean, monitoring? He said, helping with our crisis PR. Question, so what does it mean to monitor social media or PR or press? And then objection. That's that for that section.
Juicy. Very juicy, man. I love it. It's fucking meat on the bone, man.
He didn't know shit about anything, but he knew that they were supposed to be monitoring. And that's where I think the lawyers are going to be like, you're lying.
Yeah, you're
What do you mean you weren't involved in any of the decisions, that you weren't told about any of these things happening, but somehow you can answer about what the responsibility of this contracted firm in Texas is supposed to do for you?
Monitoring.
So you can answer that question, but you don't know anything else about anything? You know what they weren't supposed to do.
It's high level stupid.
How is he trying to get us to believe all this? Okay. Yeah. Okay, this next one is just one page. The question is cut off, made about you that you believe to be defamatory. Okay, that's the question.
Yeah.
Steve Sarowitz says, again, sorry, I'm just trying to get clarification. I'm not trying to be difficult. During the course of the complaint or as part of the complaint, would that be considered, since that was public in the New York Times and Miss Lively was the source of that statement, would that count? Question, that's for you to tell me. His lawyer, Steve Sarowitz's lawyer.
That's so interesting. He's literally trying to get it qualified.
Yeah.
By Blake Lively's attorney. That's hilarious.
Okay. Question, why don't you answer the question with what you believe she publicly said through the New York Times? Steve Sarowitz says, okay, through the New York Times, in the course of the complaint, it was said that I was on set for a scene where she was scantily clad and that I was a non-essential person. Because remember, the set was supposed to be closed that whole day.
For essential personnel only.
Because that was the birthing scene. And she was like, that's a fucking rough scene where I'm kind of undressed. Why don't we make sure it's a closed set?
It's a vulnerable state. And I don't want anybody around.
Yeah. Tough acting. Let's close the set. And Baldoni assured her that it was. And we know because Baldoni's own friend showed us photographs that disproved that.
Yeah.
And Steve Sarowitz says that he was there. But look at the way that he
Let's hear him wiggle out of this.
Yeah, well, so he's justifying it. He's justifying breaking the rules, and he's minimizing her concern about it.
Let's hear his justification. I'm curious.
It was said that I was on set for a scene where she was scantily clad and that I was a non-essential person. While I might have technically been non-essential, so he's admitting it, I did invest $30 million and paid for her salary, or at least my share of it, as well as the other actors, and I consider that to be essential.
So I get to look at that punani whenever the fuck I want.
Basically, Miss Lively considers.
What the fuck, dude?
I know.
What are you saying?
So
what are you saying?
You respect workplace protocols, or you don't respect workplace protocols?
Bro, he's in HR.
I know. Miss Lively considers that not to be essential. Okay, this is what he says. Miss Lively considers that not to be essential. She can send me a check. I can give her an address or you could give it to her. But beyond that, I was not on set for that scene. And although I don't have direct, and that cuts off. Miss Lively considers that not to be essential. She can send me a check. I can give her an address or you could give it to her. Well, bro, if you think that your place is being fucking firebombed by Miss Lively or somebody at her camp, why are you offering to give her your address?
What's funny is that he cut her a check for 30, probably close to like $30 million for the box office if it ends with us. If in fact she got 10% of
Why is
the
this
gross.
guy such a fucking snot? And all of his snottiness involves money.
Because that's all he's got.
How fucking thin.
His entire identity revolves around the money, a made up thing.
Oh my God. It's just so
He has
pathetic,
a made up
guys.
life about a made up thing, that creates a,
This is what I've learned about
false power.
This is what I've learned about billionaires. Did you see how Joyce Carol Oates was just made a small, normal criticism of Elon Musk, and he absolutely had a fucking
Yeah, he
meltdown
got
about
completely unwound. It was hilarious.
She got under his skin by saying, it's so weird that a guy can have so much and he's literally interested in nothing. He doesn't ever share joyful experiences with anybody about normal things or anything at all. He doesn't ever congratulate his friends on their achievements. He doesn't ever do any of like the normal shit. He doesn't even care. He doesn't even post about like caring.
He wants to be
loving his
trillionaire.
own children. He's not a normal person.
Let me tell you how fucking idiotic this human being is. He wants to be a trillionaire. Like that's what he's trying to be. He wants to be a trillionaire. He got Tesla to pass a near $1 trillion compensation package after they just gave him something like $50 billion just after he bought Twitter. And now he's getting another $1 trillion.
I know. I'm not trying to derail the whole conversation.
Oh my God.
Can
you believe the emptiness?
What I brought up was that Steve Sarowitz is like, his whole thing is like, he's an essential person because he paid to be an essential person. And I just feel like that's just so, I don't know, man. I'm not clever enough to come up with the reasons why that's just so pathetic and like pitiful.
It's gross. Yeah, it's gross. That's what I'm saying. Like they just have no, they keep score. That's their life. Their life is like sitting there going, I'm winning.
It's hard to articulate that. I just feel like pity for these rich people who have such small, narrow, like worldviews.
It's so funny because it's like your money and everything grows larger while everything else just grows super narrow.
Why
like
would anybody
your
want that?
perspective, just it's
Oh, fuck. Whatever.
it's sad. It is.
It just makes me think existential thoughts. Okay. All right. Page 172. So here's what we got here.
Matt is here. I'm so glad to see her.
Oh, sweet. Question. That's all I'm interested in is how your understanding of how you, Steve Sarowitz, were personally defamed and what she testified to in her deposition. We're going to bracket that. He goes, okay. The lawyer continues. I think I understand you to say you believe that there were things in the CRD complaint and the New York Times article that you found to be defamatory about you. He said, yes. Lawyer goes, okay. And the example that you gave of that, I believe, was an allegation about a time when it was alleged that you were on set for a scene where Miss Lively was acting out a scene of giving birth. Is that right? He said, yes. I want to add one other thing to what I said. The lawyer says, okay. He goes, it was insinuated that I went on set for particularly that scene. I didn't know what scenes were being filmed. Again, I wasn't on set for that scene, but I did not. It was insinuated that I went on set for that particular scene. Of course, like I said, I wasn't on set for that particular scene. And I also made no conscious decision to see Miss Lively in any particular thing because it wasn't important to me. Question, were you on set that day, the day that that scene was shot? He said, yes. And how do you know that? I didn't know it at the time. I was told later in a conversation with someone who was there that, oh yeah, that set was that scene because I said, what about that scene? Oh, that was filmed before you got on set. Question, and there would be records, right? That would show that you traveled to New Jersey. Is that right? He said, yes. Question, and those travel records would presumably show us when you arrived and when you left. Oh my God. They have the fucking details. Oh my God. He goes, I assume so. Question, do you have a calendar or diary that you keep? By diary, I mean a calendar. Do you keep a calendar? He said, I do, but it wouldn't it wouldn't specifically say which scenes I was there for. And they're continuing to talk about the calendar. It gets cut off.
I love it, dude.
Wait, so the lawyers know?
Well, they know when he left and they know when he got there from his travel. They probably got, itineraries and stuff from.
I mean, it doesn't matter because Justin Baldoni said that whole set day was supposed to be closed. But yeah, they're trying to pin him on the scene at the time of the birthing scene.
Is that all Sarowitz?
Nope.
More.
More?
Yes, man. It's like a big fucking juicy burger.
Okay, question. And then would the same be true for intentional negligence interference with prospective economic advantage? Not about you personally? Answer. I'm not as certain on that one. I'd have to know more on that one. I'd have to know more on that one. I'd need more detail. The other one, no. That one, possibly. Question. As you sit here today, what is your understanding of the factual basis for intentional and negligent interference with prospective economic advantage against, for example, let's start with Mr. Reynolds. And Steve Sarowitz says, and the reason I'm hesitating is I'm not sure where Wayfair ends and I start. I don't know why the lawyers sued the way they did. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not really an expert on the law, but I can talk about damages done to Wayfair, of which I'm the majority owner, and that would have a negative economic advantage to me as an individual. I don't know if that is what you're asking me. Question. I'm not asking you questions about damages to Wayfair. I'm talking about the claims you personally raised. And it gets cut off.
That's very interesting.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Why would they include that? I mean, they're including these things that they're referencing.
Yeah, this is on their side, right? This is on the Baldoni side.
This Baldoni's side has released all this. This is part of their motion for summary judgment. They think all of this makes the case. Weird. Okay, page 183. Question. And is the document that follows this that begins on page, lots of numbers, to the best of your knowledge, the Wayfair Studios Employee Handbook? He said, yes. And you're familiar with this document, right? Your name is on the first cover page of this at numbers. He said, I'm not familiar with every detail. A lot of times I will sign things as a high level. I'm not involved in day to day, but I'd be familiar that there is the document.
What did Donald Trump call Joe Biden? The auto pen?
The auto pen. Yeah, he's an auto pen.
He's an auto pen CEO.
He's like, okay, the lawyer said, okay, you see on page whatever, the first page of the document after the text, so the first page of the attachment. He said, yes. Do you see that on the page at the top of it says, and he reads, so glad you've joined us. And at the bottom it signed Steve Sarowitz and Justin Baldoni, co-chairman. He said, yes.
I love Steven Sarowitz. I mean, I love Justin Baldoni. That's Steve Sarowitz. He just like, as soon as he says that, it's like they're together. They're like, yeah, yes. Like, that's how I imagine him saying everything. He's like all stern. He's like, is that you and Justin Baldoni? Yes. That's us.
Together.
We're together. We'll always be together.
Co-chairman.
We're co-chairman.
Always. Forever.
Don't mess with that. Justin is an angel on this earth. He is an angel.
Okay, continuing. And there is a reference here to this being the employee handbook, right? He said yes. And do you have a recollection of signing off on maybe, not every word of this, but at some point in time, signing off on an employee handbook for Wayfair Studios? He said, I don't recall. Question, do you have any recollection of ever seeing this letter that your name is on here? He said, I don't recall. Question, if you flip through the table of contents on pages, and then he's citing exhibits, have you ever looked at this? As you look through the table of contents, have you ever looked through the policies and procedures that are contained within this handbook? He said, no. Okay.
I'm only there a couple times every now and then, whatever.
The lawyer's like, okay.
I'm always wearing my clothes. My zipper's always up. You know what I mean?
My pappy always said, as long as I got 2 shoes on each feet. No, wait. Okay. Question.
Which is a total of 4 shoes.
So the question is, have you ever looked through the policies and procedures that are contained within this employee handbook? He goes, no. And the lawyer's like, okay, well, let's look through some of the policies, because I think they're quite commendable. On page 4 of this document, which is exhibit.
This is just, when a lawyer starts getting all fucking hunky-dory with you and you're on the other side.
It's bad.
You're about to get smacked.
On page 4 of this document, do you see a reference in the values to Wayfair Studios being a Baha'i-inspired organization?
Oh my God.
We don't get to read the rest of that.
You know what? I'm fucking, seriously, dude? That's so fucked up. That doesn't even make sense, by the way. Oh yeah, that's, your religion inspires movie studios?
I guess.
Get the fuck out of here.
This is how they run it.
By the way, violence isn't even allowed in their theater. They can't even play dance with us. And they wanted it to be the whole focus.
Well, there's no ruling body in Baha'i, so there's no consequences, right? Like nobody's going to be like...
He said about his theater that they don't put any violence.
Yeah, no, I know.
Rambo here.
But listen, all of their rules They can just break. Like there's no,
course, yeah.
nobody in Baha'i is going to there's no Baha'i police.
No.
Like, you know how like in a church, they could be like, hey, that was fucked up. Like you got to leave church.
Dude, we lost one of our set designer or whatever he was.
He got kicked out of his church.
He got kicked out of his Methodist church that he'd been a member of for 30 years.
Yeah, see, Baha'i doesn't have that.
Boot him. He killed himself afterwards.
Well, why are you saying that?
Just dropping the bomb. I loved him.
Do you want to talk about it?
No.
But then why'd you mention it?
Because that's what churches do, bro.
That's what churches do, dude.
That's what fucking churches do.
There's actually a word for that.
This guy, when he showed up, the look on his face, he looked like someone had died in his life. And I was like, are you okay? And he's like, I got kicked out of my church. I was like, it's okay, dude. Fuck them. You don't need them because, you know, I don't even care. I can't even imagine that. And then he ended up taking his own life.
There's a specific psychological like trauma that happens. So they call it church hurt. Church hurt.
He couldn't get over it.
It's like a real betrayal of, you know, it's like being exiled, right?
Yeah. He was a good guy.
If you're a Baha'i, you don't experience that. And maybe that's why they're so happy. They can break the rules and they can be fucking willy-nilly and it doesn't matter.
Sorry to switch the rails.
Okay. Page 195. This is partial answer. It picks up, it's not just anything that anyone says, but things like, for example, unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, some very specific things. Not just anything anyone would term. So I don't want to broadly say that anything that anyone perceives to be sexual harassment would actually be sexual harassment, but rather things as in here, a condition of an individual's employment. So in other words, that if someone were to be asked for sexual favors, or if someone were to say like is very typical in Hollywood, that would be definitely sexual harassment. The lawyer said, fair enough, Mr. Sarowitz. And if I worked for you and I wanted to understand what's your sexual harassment policy, I imagine you would tell me, take a look in this document, right? And he goes, I wouldn't be the one answering that question.
I'm sorry, very uncomfortable with that question. And I don't know the answer, which is I probably should, but I didn't watch the videos and I haven't passed the course.
So the lawyer said, and if you were the one answering that question, and of course it gets an objection. The witness said, but I wouldn't be, so it's conjecture. Question, is it fair to say that if I wanted to understand what Wayfair Studios' sexual harassment policy was, that this is the place I would look? This document is the place I would look to understand that policy? Sarowitz said, I'm not 100% sure how it would be handled since I don't handle the day-to-day operations.
What a stupid answer. That wasn't even the question.
I know.
The question was, where would they look? Not who to talk to or what procedures are involved. Where do you look for the policy?
Next question is, do you understand that Wayfair Studios policy explains that, in quotes, the lawyer's reading, sexual harassment may include a range of subtle and not so subtle behaviors and may involve individuals of the same or different gender. And Sarowitz said, that's from our policy, correct? That's a piece of our policy? And then it cuts off, but it picks up 2 pages later. Question, are you aware of whether anyone on the set of It Ends With Us advised Mr. Baldoni that his behavior was unwelcome? Sarowitz said that's too broad a topic. Can you say more specifically what? Question, do you know do you know if at any time during the filming of It Ends With Us, anyone advised Mr. Baldoni that he had engaged in behavior that was unwelcome? Steve Sarowitz said, I just can't. It's too broad. The lawyer's like,
he's like, I won't.
And the lawyer's
like, are we talking about Justin? No, I won't. There's no way.
You're so sure.
Have you ever looked into his eyes?
Oh, stop it.
They're like silver.
No, wait, listen. So he said, I just can't. It's too broad, which suggests, this is so stupid of him. It suggests, so the question is like, did anybody say that he had engaged in behavior that was unwelcome? And he was like, it's too broad, meaning that there's like a lot.
Yeah,
listen, so much, but
Lord.
Like, you're going to have to narrow it down for me. It's too broad.
Next thing you know, you're going to ask me to pick out the right Smith in a phone book.
It really does suggest like, he's just like, oh man, that's like a fire hose of information. I just can't parse it. It's too broad. I just can't, he says. And the lawyer goes, you don't know? Steve Sarowitz said, I wasn't there. I don't have any firsthand, as you said before about the other things, I don't have any firsthand knowledge. I wasn't there. The lawyer said, do you have any information at all? Were you ever told that anyone told Mr. Baldoni that he had engaged in conduct that was unwelcome and a request that it be discontinued?
Who didn't complain? That's what I need to know.
Okay, and so this is an objection to the extent it calls for information you learned from lawyers, in which case you're instructed not to answer. And then the witness said, attorney privilege.
Yeah, we're just going to steal that up right here.
Yeah. We're just not going to tell that information. Okay, question. So you're saying, other than what you've learned from your attorneys, you're unaware of anything? He said, correct. Question. Other than what you've heard from your attorneys, for example, you never had a conversation with Mr. Baldoni where he told you that someone on the set had told him that his behavior was unwelcome? And Sarowitz said, I don't recall. Well, they're in text messages telling Steve Sarowitz. This is amazing. I don't know why they're putting... This is definitely something that you would litigate in court. I don't know why they're saying that this is motion for summary judgment.
I don't know.
This is not something where everybody agrees on everything. You guys are all telling different stories.
What the fuck is going on? This is so weird. I don't understand it. Okay.
Next question. Are you aware, other than what you've learned from your attorneys, whether any member of the cast or crew ever asked Mr. Baldoni to discontinue a behavior or a type of conduct on the set? Sarowitz says, other than what I've learned from my attorneys, I'm not aware of anything. Okay. You've never seen anything from Wayfair's own documents or your own text messages? And Sarowitz says, I don't recall, outside of what I talked to my attorneys about. And then this gets cut off. Okay, so you don't know one way or the... Next one. Open and shut case, folks. Nothing to see here.
I can't believe that I'm sitting on the other side of this guy's argument, and I'm like, you would think that, since I've been on the other side of this entire time, since the story dropped, I've been on the other side and publicly from TikTok to here, and you would think I would be like, whoa, oh shit, oh, I didn't know that.
Revelatory.
Oh, breaking news, people. Mm-hmm. There is some stuff here that gives me pause.
Nope.
I cannot believe that as they're going through as we're going through their own summary judgment, Blake Lively's case gets stronger. Like, wait till she answers this thing.
I know.
It's going to be explosive. I know. We might have to just go live as soon as it hits.
I know. Just read it all?
Just get and read it just like you're doing. Continue.
This next chunk, question. Was there ever a time, again, prior to this litigation, where you learned that someone on the set raised concerns that Mr. Baldoni's behavior was inappropriate during filming? See how they're really trying to nail him down? I'm not repeating myself. This is a new page.
Yeah.
Sarowitz said, I am not aware of any HR complaints that were raised or any SAG complaints that were raised by his behavior. And the lawyer goes, well, that's an interesting way of distinguishing the question, because that's precisely how your PR people talked about it to the press. So my question to you, sir, was not about HR complaints or SAG complaints. My question to you was whether, and I will reread it. My question was whether...
Why would they keep that in there? Because that's literally him saying, you're reiterating the same thing your PR people are have told the public.
But you weren't in coordination with them? That's super interesting.
Wow. I can't believe they left that in there.
Okay, my question was whether you ever became aware prior to this litigation of anyone on the set raising concerns that Mr. Baldoni's behavior during filming was inappropriate. He said, I don't recall.
And the reason they think it's I guess evidence that helps them is because he does not know of any such complaint.
Question. Is it...
After admitting that he'd been there twice.
Yeah.
For fucking 10 minutes.
Question. Is it fair to say that under the Wayfair Studios policy, the thing you want your employees to do when they feel like they have experienced this type of prohibited behavior is promptly advise the offender that his or her behavior is unwelcome and request that it be discontinued? The witness says yes. And what is supposed to happen when an individual follows that policy to the letter? Sarowitz said, although I am not responsible for this because I'm not the one actually implementing this, the behavior should stop. That would be my individual responsibility as an individual. Question. But the
No, that's
reason...
not true, dude. These people are working for you. That's not true. He's trying to indemnify himself.
I think you can tell that he's a little stressed because he's not really answering the questions directly. He's trying to.
I mean, it's really tough questions.
He's trying to sort of. This is several pages. He's been asked about the same thing, and he's danced around it enough, and he's getting pinned. And I think the lawyers recognize this, but you can tell that it's one of these, like, I've seen this in your depositions too for your lawsuit, that the deponent will try and skip ahead and try and like anticipate the next thing because they're trying to get under.
We actually get advised not to.
They'll try and get away from like, it screwed him over here, but they'll try and get away from what they feel is a punishing line of questioning by like speeding up to the end.
No, it's a big fucking no. You're literally supposed to only answer the questions you're asked and only answer them as succinctly as possible. Like, don't embellish anything.
But the reason the reason the policy is written this way is because the hope is by promptly reporting it and asking for that behavior to be discontinued, whoever's doing it will stop, right? And Sarowitz said, I would not be personally involved, but that would be the hope. Question, that's your understanding of the purpose of this policy, right? Sarowitz said yes. And the next section under supervisor and manager responsibility states, and he's reading, if any supervisor or manager becomes aware of a violation of this policy, they are obligated to report the violation to human resources or management so Wayfarer Studios can investigate and, if appropriate, take corrective action. Did you see that? And Sarowitz says, where is that? And the lawyer says, in the section entitled Supervisor and Manager Responsibilities. He goes, okay, yes, I do see it. Question, did you supervise or manage any people at Wayfarer Studios during the filming of It Ends With Us? He said no. Question, did Mr. Heath? He said yes. Okay, this skips to the next thing.
Mr. Heath was
I know.
Yes.
Maybe we should have started with his.
No, this are you kidding me? This is juicy. This is so juicy.
Okay, question. Are you looking at the chat?
I glance at it.
Okay.
They're having a good time, I think. Everybody okay?
You guys still with us? I hope I'm not making mouth sounds. I feel like
Are you drinking water?
Yes, I am.
All right.
I'm gonna do more.
Pause.
Mouth sounds are the worst. I don't ever want to be making mouth
That guy
sounds.
you played me, it was the most egregious I've ever heard. It sounded like a ASMR or like some kind of like horror movie.
I had to
where the steak is moving on the counter toward you.
It's one of those things that you do when you're married and your poor spouse is just like the captive to all of your things that you want to show them that's awful. I had to show Dale this video of this guy being interviewed. His mouth sounds were so extreme. It was the worst I'd ever heard it. It sounded like somebody was clicking like what are they called? Castanets?
Yeah.
Like inside his mouth. That's horrible. Just like the clicking.
Continue.
Question. You learned about that completely independently of anything that could fall within an attorney-client privilege because you learned about it in 2023, right? The witness said, not completely independently. Okay. Question. You knew in 2023 that Miss Lively's legal team had sent a list of protections for return to production, and you talked about it with Mr. Baldoni, didn't you? Sarowitz said, I'm trying to answer this honestly. Oh, well, good, because you're fucking under oath in a deposition.
You're required by law to do so.
Okay, he goes, I'm trying to answer this honestly, so give me a second to describe what I think of that list. I believe that Miss Lively sent a list of things that she insinuated we did, which we never did. We. He's saying we. Interesting. And that forced us basically, so he and Justin Baldoni are union. You know, they're like.
Have you looked into his eyes?
So, okay. Miss Lively sent a list of things that she insinuated we did, which we never did. And that forced us basically, after millions of dollars were invested to the movie, to sign a list of things that we would do no more, that were never done as a ploy to take over the movie, which she eventually did. So, yes, I believe that Miss Lively did send a list of demands for her return to work, and we did sign the list. But when we signed it with the understanding that we did not agree that we had actually done those things. Question. What did you do? Since you're stating with some amount of conviction that the actions described in that list did not occur and were, as you just said, a ploy, what did you do to satisfy yourself that what you just said is factual? How did you satisfy yourself that those behaviors or activities or compliance, or whatever you would like to call them, did not occur? Steve Sarowitz says, As I have stated previously, the two main things that she said about me are complete or partial lies. That is my direct experience. She accused me of being in a scene, at a scene, which I was not at. She said she was scantily clad. An actor who was on the set with her testified she was not, basically testified she was not scantily clad.
We actually now have the truth, which is that her groin, her genitals were covered by a piece of fabric.
Again, he's not answering the question.
Yeah.
Because how did you satisfy yourself that those behaviors or activities did not occur?
Yeah. He's ranting completely
and then he goes,
out of context.
I'm
sure they objected.
She said she was scantily clad. An actor who was on the set with her testified she was not, publicly testified that she was not scantily clad.
Assumes facts, not
And then
there's a bunch of shit there.
And then throughout the course of this case, the evidence has come out that much of what she said was not true or partially true or twisted to make it seem worse. For example, she said that Justin said, and then it cuts off.
I guarantee you there was an objection that assumes facts, not an evidence, because he's talking about a testimony that probably they don't even have. There's no way they deposed that person. That person that he just spoke about.
He said publicly testified.
Yeah.
And so what does that mean?
That part there says Hanada.
That part there.
I don't know which part. Which part?
That part right there. Yeah, it's been a bunch of those, man. I don't know why they think that this is exonerating. Okay. This starts with a quote. The lawyer is asking him to respond to this quote. Wayfair Studios will maintain appropriate documentation and tracking to ensure that reasonable progress is made. And he affirms that I guess the question is, have you seen this? The question, did that happen with respect to what occurred on set? And it ends with us. And Steve Sarowitz said the two ways that a formal complaint would, I'm not aware of any formal complaints, of any formal reports, of any allegations being made either, as I mentioned before, either to SAG or to HR. Question. So your answer is you're not aware of any investigation of this type referenced on the document with the exhibit taking place. Answer. I'm not aware of any reported allegations. The lawyer's asking, what's a formal report? Steve Sarowitz says typically again, I'm not an expert on this. Not an expert on this.
Well,
Steve Sarowitz made his billions in HR software. Again, I'm not an expert on this. I don't
and
manage.
That's what I mean about CEOs. They're not. They're like, here's $100 million. Go make something happen and we'll call it mine.
It happened. The best things happen.
This is fucking Elon Musk. The guy's actually a Muppet. He does nothing. He just sits there and goes, boop, boop.
Yeah.
Money.
Okay. He said, typically, again, I'm not an expert on this. I don't manage sets, but what I've been told and what I've learned through the course of this case is that the two options, if there was, and that's cut off. Such a buzzkill.
We're going to get the rest. Or, I mean, for those that matter.
This next section, they are reading... Okay, this is cut off, but they're reading from, I guess, the handbook again. Favors, verbal abuse of a sexual nature, commentary about an individual's body, sexual prowess or sexual deficiencies, sexual jokes and innuendo, leering, whistling or touching, insulting or obscene comments or gestures, display in the workplace of sexually suggestive objects or pictures, and other physical, verbal, or visual conduct of a sexual nature. The question is that a good description of what can constitute sexual harassment under Wayfair's policy?
Oh, boy.
There's like all of the things that she said in there.
I mean, it's just a big old boy.
He said, that's what the policy says.
Oh, yeah.
Question. Do you have any knowledge of whether any conduct of that type occurred on the set of It Ends With Us? Steve Sarowitz said, I have no knowledge of any of that. Question.
In fact, I know otherwise. I know it didn't happen. And you know why? Because Justin would never do anything.
Because have you looked into his eyes? Okay, you don't know one way or the other. And Sarowitz said, I have no knowledge of any of that ever occurring. That's my belief that none of that ever occurred on set.
KK just said, I love how he thinks you have to be an expert in HR to understand the most basic HR training that every employee receives. Every
employee receives that handbook.
That's typical.
He could have read it, and he would have also been able to answer these questions.
It's a typical CEO, dude. They don't follow the same rules. They don't abide by the policies. They don't go over the policies. They don't.
Yeah, but you'd think he would read this when he's in litigation about it, you know? It's fucking weird.
It is.
That he's like, I will spend $100 million to defend my company, but you won't read a fucking handbook?
I won't take the 5 minutes.
Crazy.
I'm way too busy. I have to shower.
It's my belief that none of that ever occurred on set. I have no direct knowledge. Question. So if an investigation is not conducted, and if an employee believes their complaint is not resolved, what does the policy say the employee or covered person should do? And they're asking, do you need time to read the policy?
That is such a dig.
Sarowitz said, can you point me to that? The
Sure,
lawyer
over
says,
here, big boy.
take a look at the section that says violations of this policy. He goes, okay, got it. Do you see the paragraph that begins with employees? And he's reading, if employees believe their complaint is not resolved. Do you see that? Sarowitz said, so what you're saying is if anything actually occurred, and the attorney's like, take a minute. The witness.
Just read it, big boy.
Steve Sarowitz said, yeah, so I should, so he said, take a minute and read it, and then you can respond. And that is...
That's interesting because that gives the impression that he's kind of anxious in the moment, you know? What are we doing here? Yeah, you're just going to have to get yourself familiar with your own
Dude,
document.
I would be too. Do you remember being super anxious when they'd put something in front of you to read?
In my
deposition?
depositions, I remember being incredibly excited to put the story on the record.
Yeah.
I was excited, combative most of the time, really.
Oh, I thought you answered everything really well.
Well, if you were there, if you ever get to see the tape,
You were sweating.
there's no, I'm not sweating at all. I was chill, bro. You know, the cool thing is when you go and you just rock the truth, bro. You just really don't have much to like worry about. My lawyers are like, oh, and I'm like, I'm just gonna tell the truth. Are we cool with that?
Yeah.
And I did. So help my nuts. Keep going.
Okay, so that was cut off. So we're in a new place. Steve Sarowitz continues to say, this is like for several pages now. He's been kind of badgered by this. He said, I'm not aware of any complaints that were not resolved. The question, complaints describing unwelcome behavior? Steve Sarowitz said, I'm not aware of any complaints that were not resolved. Now he's just being like a pouty baby about it. Okay. I'm not aware of any complaints that were not resolved. And the lawyer goes, okay. And and he goes, can I answer a little bit more? I believe that after there are no further complaints after the 17 points. So even after very early on in filming, I was not aware of any complaints, and I'm not aware of any written complaints, any HR complaints. I'm not aware of any unresolved complaints. I know that there was insinuated, but I am not aware of any unresolved complaints. That's a really contradictory. Okay, question. Are you aware of any investigation that took place into any conduct that took place on the set of It Ends With Us prior to this litigation? Steve Sarowitz said, I'm not aware of any complaints that necessitated an investigation prior to this investigation. So the answer to my question is no. And that is cut off. So picks up a few pages later. He said, he's pointing to this handbook again. All that we get to see is the quote, investigated and addressed. He said, do you see that? And Steve Sarowitz affirms he did. The question, and we've already established that there was no investigation of any kind prior to the initiation of litigation in this case. Is that correct? And Steve Sarowitz said, I'm not aware of any event that would facilitate or require an investigation. So as I said before, I'm not aware of any event that would have required an investigation. And one thing...
Yeah,
you okay, buddy?
You did great, yeah.
And one thing I forgot to mention before is that we had talked to counsel, and there was no event that they felt would require an investigation. And the question is, who is we? And Steve Sarowitz said, Jamie and Justin.
They were the fucking people that were being complained about.
I know. I don't really know.
This is addressed specifically in the CRD.
Yep.
It's a major fucking issue.
Yeah. That they wouldn't investigate themselves.
Of course it is, by the way. Of course it is.
And he said, I don't really know. I wasn't involved in that conversation. And the question is, well, how did you just remember this? He said, I knew about it before. I had forgotten to say it before. The counsel that also verified along with their own, just there was no need for an investigation and then that gets cut off. Okay.
That's wild.
Sounds like you're not running a tight ship there, buddy.
My God, you don't know what's happening at all.
He's so sure that Lively's wrong.
Yeah,
this is the thing that gets me about him is he's so sure that he's like gonna go for blood. He is literally threatening to make dead bodies out of them by his own fucking using those words.
Dead to so many people.
But he has no idea what's going on, and he admits that he's not involved in the day-to-day or anything else.
It really is truly amazing.
So
because
why is he so sure?
It's so obvious that this guy is bringing hatred to an ignorance party. Like he has no actual knowledge of anything except his absolute outstanding love for Justin Baldoni. All he is going on is his love for Baldoni. That's what it is. It's just Baldoni does no wrong. He knows who Justin is. He doesn't have to be here or anywhere to know Justin Baldoni, because Justin Baldoni is the purest form of man.
I think it's just really impressive how these super religious rich guys get they will never not trust the people in their religion. I feel like that must make them such easy marks for being conned. You know? Like, look at him here. He's still defending the guy that got him in this fucking mess.
I know.
So, and he still trusts him? Like, this guy could be conned easy. You could probably take him for all he's worth.
I wish I had had a meeting with him once.
All you have to be is his religion, or like
That's
somehow,
true. That's the problem.
Or a co-chairman of the business he's in. He'll protect you no matter what. He doesn't care.
We moved to Georgia, and they were just like, just become a Christian, and you can like go and have access to all this money. All you have to do is lie your fucking face off and be like,
I couldn't do it.
Yes, praise Jesus.
There's no way.
Give me your money. It's fucked up. Yeah, I can't do that.
Okay. This next one. Should I continue, or are we
No,
over
keep
this?
going. Yeah, we we're on we still got 20 minutes left in this session.
Okay, so this question starts in the middle of something. His answer is cut off. These expensive things occurred during the production. So when these things occurred, I can't tell you exactly when they occurred, but throughout the production, in addition to a lot of stress, in addition to the people being fired, and this 17-point list essentially served very effectively, in my opinion, and I will give her a lot of credit for this, as essentially a knife to our throat throughout all of this, so she could get away with the crimes she got away with. Question.
Can you believe the language?
Oh my God! But
coming out of his mouth.
I know. So check this out. I bet he was like, you could tell his heart rate, his blood pressure got raised.
Yeah.
So check out this question. So she could get away with the crimes she got away with, and the lawyer goes, "I thought you weren't involved in the production of the film. You only visited the set twice, right? Isn't that what your lawyer told Forbes?" And he goes, "That's what I told Forbes, and that's what I'm telling you. I only visited the set twice." And the lawyer goes,
Gottlieb.
"That's the truth?" And Sarowitz said, "That is the truth." And this attorney says, "Well, you use the word 'we' a lot in that speech you just gave, and so what I'm wondering is, were you involved in the production of the film, or are you in using the word 'we' describing Wayfair Studios?" And Sarowitz answers, "I'm using the word 'we' as in the entity Wayfair Studios, of which I'm the majority investor. Not that I was individually involved in any of the actions. Not that I have personal knowledge of any of this. Not that I was involved in any of this.
Oh my God, bro.
Not that I was involved in any of this personally or have any individual knowledge. However, the effects have hurt me, have hurt the company and myself as an owner of the company in that respect." Like, he should be mad. He should be mad at his own company and the people running it that they got him into this mess.
I don't think you understand who his partner is, though. You don't.
Justin.
It's Justin. And you think that you can laugh, Angela, but he's the most beautiful person.
But have you seen his abs?
It's not just his abs; it's his eyes. Have you looked into his eyes? And sometimes when he talks,
You're giving me the creeps.
It's just like getting warm water poured over your head.
Everybody loves that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the lawyer goes, "What I'm trying to get at, Mr. Sarowitz, is did you..."
He knew about the 17-point document, didn't he?
Yeah, he just rattled
KK's
off.
pointing it out. It's a fact.
He just rattled off a lot of stuff that he knows about. That he just said that there was nothing that was
Where'd you get that
unresolved.
briefing? You don't.
He just said there was so much that was unresolved.
He's a fucking liar.
He might be an idiot.
He's not. I mean,
tell.
he's just absolutely, completely revealing that he is a liar.
One thing he did do is not have his story straight. And his story doesn't match the other fucking defendants. And I don't know how they're all supposed to reconcile this and call this a motion for summary judgment.
Well,
I think oh man, okay. What I'm trying to get at, Mr. Sarowitz, is did you, with respect to Miss Lively's allegations and whatever label you want to give to the sort of content of that 17-point list, okay? I don't want to fight over whether there are allegations or claims or whatever they are, but the substance of what was in the 17-point list. Did you know anything about the events described from firsthand knowledge? The witness says no.
wow.
Did you know anything about what was described in that document other than what you had learned from Mr. Baldoni? And the witness is asking, is it possible we could review the 17-point list? The lawyer says, we're going to get to a document in a minute, but as you sit here today, your understanding of what was happening on the set, which you have testified you weren't there every day, you visited twice, you weren't involved in the production. Do you ever recall learning anything about what was going on the set other than from Mr. Baldoni? He said, yes. Okay, what else do you recall as you sit here today? Steve Sarowitz said, I talked to Brandon Sklenar when I was on set, and he was effusive in his praise for Justin, his directing, Wayfarer, how he had been treated in general. So I met with him personally on the day I was on set. The question is, which of the 2 days? The first day I was on set,
hugged.
okay?
They were like, I know. And then they hugged, because he's like, Justin, I know. We're so lucky.
You know what happened? Steve Sarowitz showed up and Brandon Sklenar was like, oh, this is the guy with money? This is the guy with the money? Oh, dude, it's just such a joy to be here. Everything's so wonderful. You really put together such a great party.
Oh my God. You know what? If you think about it, you go, Jesus, Justin.
Oh, this is the guy with the money? Yeah, everything's great, man. Justin. I love it here. Like, no problem.
Wow.
This guy is a billionaire, dude, and he makes sure everybody fucking knows it. So yeah, he's going to get glad-handed everywhere he goes. And he's surprised. He thinks that's credible. Dude, everyone's kissing your ass constantly. You don't know. Okay, so they were asking, the first day I was on set, he said, my own experience from that day on set was that I did not witness anything untoward, but I would not have. Again, I was only on set twice, so that's what I know firsthand.
And Justin is a miracle.
The lawyer said, okay, and so you had a conversation that you recall from Mr. Sklenar, which was very positive about his experiences? And Steve Sarowitz goes, effusive, yes.
Did he really?
Yeah, and the lawyer said, effusive. Your word. And you obviously had conversations along the way with Mr. Baldoni. Is there anything else you can think of that as you're sitting here today, that any other person from whom you might have learned information about what was happening on set? He said, yes. Who was that? He said, Jamie Heath. Okay, so you had conversations with Mr. Heath during production. He said, yes. And did you talk to Mr. Heath and Mr. Baldoni by phone from time to time during production? He said, I don't recall, but I assume so. Bitch.
You're lying. You're lying.
You don't recall?
You're lying.
Okay. Do you know what year it is?
Yeah, exactly. You're just lying. You're lying through your face because it allows them to not have to be specific about those conversations. Yeah. It makes a discovery of them almost impossible. It's just a lie. It also gives him an opportunity to protect himself against any kind of evidence that might arise that could in any way contradict, his so-called memory.
It's a really stupid strategy because he should know that Justin Baldoni is loose fucking lipped, dude. And he tells everybody everything that goes on. All right. So yeah, he's talked to other people. He's talked to a bunch of other people about conversations he has with he always calls him his partner, Steve Sarowitz. Like everybody knows his fucking name. He's talking to.
I think Steve Sarowitz sleeps at bed and he has like a little recording of the Justin Baldoni messages.
No. It was like,
hey, Steve, it's me, Justin. No, listen. I just wanted to tell you that everything is going great, and I can't thank you enough for everything you've done for me and my family. I just want you to know that I deeply love you. I love you, Stephen. Hi, Stephen. It's Justin.
No, when they dropped the voice note to Blake Lively at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Steve Sarowitz was like saves it and put it on his home screen.
Can I get a copy of that? Hey, Justin, that was really good. Can I get a copy of that? Thanks. And then he's got a mixtape. It's Justin, the greatest hits, Justin's greatest hits.
Okay, this next part.
Dude, if we had an animator on our live, we'd have like Steven's just hearts beaming out of him while Justin stands there with his six-pack.
You know in anime where they have like the two little reflection dots in the eyes?
Yes.
Well, they turn into hearts?
Yes. These things.
Okay. This next page. Okay.
Yes.
Are you with me?
Yes.
Question: which was the first of the 2 days that you visited the set? I guess that wasn't that was like he was leading into that question because the answer is yes. And how long would you say that interaction with Miss Lively took? Okay, so they've redacted some situation where he's talking about Miss Lively
having a conversation with her.
All right, let's see what
else
happens.
Toots?
Nice rack. How's it going?
Nice rack. What's going on? Hey, can I see you from behind? Not bad. Not bad at all. Considering you just dropped what? How heavy was that thing anyway?
And how long would you say that interaction with Miss Lively took? He said a minute or two. A minute or two, but he knows everything. He knows she's lying. Okay. Anything else? I know this can be tedious, but anything else you can think of in your head as you sit here today that informed your understanding of what had happened on set? Steve Sarowitz said, I'm friends with one of the actors. And he said, which one? Adam Mondschein.
Is that the guy playing catch?
Yes, that's the guy playing catch, the OBGYN at the hospital.
That's
in
a family
Blake
affair.
Lively's. Yeah.
Did you get a good look or what, boss?
Okay. So
Told you we were going to take care of you. I told you.
the question, and did you have conversations with Mr. Mondschein about what was happening on set? And Steve Sarowitz goes, nothing negative.
Wow.
I love that so much because it reminds me of like your parents walk in, you're a teenager and you
Yeah,
were
of
watching
course.
porn on your TV and they're like, and they didn't even say anything.
What were you
You're like,
watching? You'd
nothing,
be like-
nothing, it's nothing.
What were you watching? Was it Bears?
You were
Bears.
watching
I was
Bears.
watching Bears.
And did you have conversations with Mr. Mondschein about what was happening on set? He goes, nothing negative. And the lawyer's like, my question was, did you have any conversations with Mr. Mancini about what was happening on set? And Steve Sarowitz said, just his experience. And when did you talk to Mr. Mancini? He said, I don't recall. Do you recall how many scenes in the movie Mr. Mancini was in? I don't know. Would it refresh your recollection if I told you? And he said, yeah, that sounds right to me. I guess there's a part missing, huh?
Yeah, there is.
Do you know what scene he was in? Yes, he was in the birthing scene. Do you know what character he played? He played the doctor. The doctor that sat in between Miss Lively's legs while she was giving birth. And
Eating Cheetos. Eating fucking Doritos.
she could just hear the crunching and see the top of his forehead.
What is he doing down there? He's eating Doritos. It's in the script. You probably didn't read the book though, did you?
You didn't read the book, so you wouldn't know.
You wouldn't fucking know.
Oh, wait, listen, okay.
Okay.
He played the doctor that sat in between Miss Lively's legs while she was giving birth. He goes, I wasn't there.
I wasn't there for that. I didn't see it.
And the lawyer goes, have you seen the movie? Have you seen the movie? I have seen the movie. Is that what happens in the scene? He said, I don't recall. Did you talk to Mr. Mancini before he went to act for that scene? He said, no. Did you talk to him after that? He said, yes. What was the nature of your conversation? Steve Sarowitz said, just his experience. And what did he talk about? And Steve Sarowitz said, sounded like it was positive. Anything specific?
I was this fucking close, bro. Like, I'm just this close. It's like we could have had a conversation, you know what I'm saying?
Anything specific you recall? No, I don't recall. Also, he confirmed my memory, which is that I wasn't there at that scene. And which is such a bad thing to do. And because now they're going to ask him about this. When did that happen? He goes, during the course of litigation, after litigation, I just double checked and I said, I wasn't there for that scene. He said, I don't know. He said, I know I wasn't there. He said, I wasn't there for that scene. He said, I know I was there. The question is, when did that conversation take place? He said, I don't recall. Question, do you know roughly like what month that would have occurred? Answer, I don't recall the exact month. Did you talk to him on the phone? Yes. Do you recall about how long the conversation was? No. Did you talk to him about anything else? I don't recall. And so the nature of that call, to the best of your recollection, is you asked him if he had a recollection of you being present for the birth scene, and he said he did not. Steve Sarowitz says, I told my recollection, and again, this is going back to the call.
By the way, this is them colluding a little bit. You see, this is the problem here.
Yeah.
Is they're like, hey, let's clarify, right?
Yeah, right.
Between you and me, I was not there. I was not there.
And again, this is going back to the call that I told him I wasn't there for the birth scene. And am I wrong about that? And he confirmed that.
No, you're absolutely right. Let's just go ahead and confirm that for you right now.
Oh my God.
He was fucking there.
That I told him,
She
hey man.
She was in a patch and she saw who was there. You know why she saw who was there and why she remembers? Because her vagina was exposed.
Because it was supposed to be a close set.
And because
she's
it
like,
was
why
supposed to be
the
a
fuck
close
is
set.
he here?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I mean, I've been on a set when an actress is uncomfortable because it's an intimate scene and she was fully clothed and we had to kick people out. Like, it's a fucking joke. What this guy doesn't know shit about anything. And he knows, and he's also lying. He was fucking there and he remembers it and he's colluding with somebody right now. That is my opinion on this matter.
You know what's so weird about this whole thing is that they could admit that they were there and that she saw them and that she was upset about it and still make it like no big deal.
Right.
What they're doing is they're fucking lying about it, which makes them liars and her telling the truth when really the allegation doesn't have to be a big deal, but that they're lying about it. They're making it huge.
Yeah, well, it's worse than even making it huge. It means that they know that what was going on was wrong.
Yeah.
They're not admitting it because they know it's wrong. When you're a parent, you run out and you go, what the fuck are you doing? They say nothing. Because if they say that what they were doing, they're going to get fucking grounded or they're going to get that thing taken away or whatever it might be. He knew it was wrong. That's why he was fucking, anyway, this guy's classic. Go.
Okay, well, this is really interesting.
Great.
Because I think that they put a recording of his testimony in front of him.
Oh, lovely.
He said, my recollection, and again, this is going back to the call, that I told him I wasn't there for the birth scene, and am I wrong about that? And he confirmed that. And the lawyer goes, and he said, yeah, you're right, you weren't there. And Steve Sarowitz goes, correct. And the lawyer goes, okay, let's take a look at Exhibit 8. Mr. Sarowitz, you've been handed a document marked as Exhibit 8, which is a document bearing this is the categorization number, and then an attachment that is produced in native format to this document. Sarowitz said, it's a little small for my old eyes, I think. Lawyer goes, I also need these to read this document.
Chuckle, we're 50.
He needs a microscope. This document is first to the page, and then okay, that's all cut off. So he was like, oh, that's what you guys said on the call? Okay, well, let me just put this in front of you. This is a transcript of I don't know. I don't know what Exhibit 8 is. Okay, should I continue?
Yes, please, tasty morsels.
This is the next one.
How much more is there in this document?
I'm on page 47 of 68, but it's all, I don't know how much is at the end.
Rocket.
47.
Keep going.
Let me go to the end. There might be, nope, it's all deposition.
Go, keep going.
I'm trying, bro.
Go.
Okay. Steve Sarowitz said, I've seen a lot of evidence personally involving me and others that Miss Lively's perspective is false. And I think misleading and false and misleading often, as I have mentioned with my own personal things in this deposition. I don't like to speak to others, but I can speak to the facts. The supposed facts she said about me were either misleading or completely wrong, and I believe on purpose. For example, Miss Lively said I was going to, or I was at a scene I was not at, insinuating for the entire world that I wanted to go and see a birthing scene because she was scantily clad, which I wasn't there, but I've heard she was also not scantily clad.
I'm not convinced, and I'm not convinced immediately because his fucking buddy is there. Now we know that he's also buddies with the guy playing catch.
Yep.
Now they're all buddies with the guy playing catch between the legs, and he just happens to show up on that day without knowing it.
Yeah,
he's a fucking bull-faced liar. That's bullshit. That's his fucking pal. His fucking, it's not fucking bullshit.
Yeah, Adam Munchine.
Yeah, he admits that they're friends.
Yep.
He's like, my other friend there. And then they spoke afterward to collude on it.
Yeah, he talked to him on the phone. Given my experience with Miss Lively, my personal experience with Miss Lively, that and during her deposition, she insinuated I threatened to kill her and her husband. Did I skip? No. Okay. I wasn't there. I'm gonna go back. Okay. I wasn't there, but I've heard she was also not scantily clad. Okay. Given my experience with Miss Lively, my personal experience with Miss Lively, that and during her deposition, she insinuated I threatened to kill her and her husband, which I have never done. Bitch, we read the fucking transcript. We heard your fucking voice.
You said they're going to be dead to a lot of people.
There are going to be 2 more dead bodies when I'm done, is what he said. And he was referring to them. What the fuck is he even saying?
And we're supposed to just assume that, yes, you're joking.
Which I have never done.
Couldn't possibly be serious. Not in America.
Which I have never done. And even in the evidence that they proffered in their own complaint, it very specifically said, I did not threaten to kill them. And I was very clear about that. But she repeated it as such. Given the misleading things that she said about me, I have every reason, and given my long-term friendship with Justin, where he has been sweet and kind to many, many people for many years, and his 19-year experience in the film industry with excellent relations with many people who I have met. Forget about those other lawsuits that he was named in. This is insane. Given my experience with both of them, I have reason to mistrust Miss Lively, direct reasons to mistrust Miss Lively, and reasons to trust Justin Baldoni. And the attorney said, understood. Isn't everything you and I just talked about the reason why corporations do investigations when allegations arise? Are you listening?
Yeah.
And then Steve Sarowitz said, as I have stated before, I am unaware of any complaints that were lodged that would require an investigation prior to the actual CRD complaint. The lawyer goes, do you...
But yet, you knew about the 17-point document.
Yeah.
But yet, you knew about the 17-point document. He's a liar. And it's all over this deposition. Now, will they be able to prove it? It's the hardest thing in fucking in law, really, to do.
This next thing gets cut off, but
it's enough inconsistency that if he gets to the stand, they can demonstrate to a jury that this guy's story doesn't add up.
No,
and that's all they can do.
He doesn't know anything.
This guy's story doesn't add up.
But he made threats.
He knows things, then he doesn't know things.
Yeah, he made threats, and he had no basis for making those threats. He was sure that she was lying, and he told everybody so, and he had no basis for understanding that. I wonder whether Steve Sarowitz is somewhat a victim here, because it could possibly be that he's the big money bags that has so much trust in Justin Baldoni that him and Heath have decided to protect him completely, shield him from anything, because they don't.
Elizabeth Holmes got away with what she got away with for as long as she did. It's because these people give their money and then they walk away and they say, "Give me a report in the morning."
Yeah, and the report can be completely false.
Completely false.
Okay, I'm just going to skip this because the
God, I need me one of those.
A billionaire?
Just get one of those. I just need me one of those, man.
A blind billionaire.
Well, and I'll take good care of him, actually, but it's really nice not to have him around. Like, he's kind of a dream investor, to not have like somebody up your ass the entire time.
I know, dude.
You're trying to make a move.
I can't believe they fumbled this shit, bro. It's crazy.
Unbelievable. They had everything lined up perfectly.
God.
They had the silent billionaire. I mean, my God.
Okay, picks up in the middle of a question. Were you aware that, have you seen what Miss Baker or Miss Carroll testified about this meeting on the 16th? So I believe that this is where they left off before, 4 pages before. The lawyer asked, do you see this reference of this chart, May 16th, 2023? There's a description of a meeting in Blake Lively's trailer regarding a wardrobe concern. Okay, so this 4 pages later, maybe they're talking about the same thing. I don't know. The question goes, were you aware, have you seen what Miss Baker or Miss Carroll testified about this meeting on the 16th? He said, no. Have you talked to any percipient, maybe that's an error, percipient witnesses to that event to come to an understanding of what occurred? He said, no. Question, so for all you know, Miss Lively's description of this event could be completely accurate. And Steve Sarowitz said, given the lack of accuracy that I've seen by almost everything else that Blake Lively has said, I've come to doubt her veracity as a witness on almost everything she says. Given the things that I know, given all the evidence. So you're
making assumptions that she is not telling the truth. You don't know anything.
You don't trust women.
You don't know anything.
So you don't trust women.
Yeah. And you don't know anything. You don't fucking know goddamn anything. You sound exactly like your stands.
Given the things that I know, given all the evidence I have seen over and over again, however, it is possible that she could be accurate on something as well. Question, and to figure out whether she was accurate, you'd probably want to know what the eyewitnesses to the events thought, right? He goes, we have a whole legal team. And again, as I mentioned, I'm an investor in many companies. I don't get involved in the details, but the legal team is involved.
I just eat the candy.
I just talk about how I want to absolutely destroy people, even though I'm just really not involved in everything.
I'm here for
this
the
fucking
artillery.
Guy.
It's so funny that he wants to protect something so badly that he doesn't fucking really have any involvement in it anyway.
Okay, they went attorney's eyes only. This is weird. Okay. The lawyer goes, in her deposition, Miss Carroll testified about this event with Mr. Heath. She said the following. Okay, now they're reading. They're reading Miss Carroll's deposition. Okay?
Yes. Miss Carroll, who is Carroll?
I believe she's either makeup or wardrobe.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. She's in makeup or wardrobe. She says, Miss Carroll's deposition says, Blake was having body makeup done in the trailer by Vivian. We heard the door open and looked and went, whoa, whoa, whoa. And it was Jamie at the door. I grabbed a cutting cape, which was over my chair, and held it up to try and cover her. And she said, Blake said, whoa, 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 don't come in. And he said, it will only take a second. And that's when all of this action was happening. He stayed in the trailer. They had a discussion and he left.
I mean, that sounds like
she said, don't come in. It'll only take a second.
That sounds like a true account. Like in terms of the way that story's told, like there just doesn't sound like a false moment in it, in the testimony. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when you hear people construct things, like you hear Steve Sarowitz do it constantly and then get, reminded that he had that he had actually no knowledge of anything and that he's only reiterating what he's been told. This person sounds like they saw something, they remembered it, and they testified to that. And I just think that it's important to distinguish that when you're hearing testimony. You can hear the truth.
Why would they include that?
I just can't believe it.
All of this sounds so bad.
I just can't believe it.
Am I tripping? Doesn't this sound bad?
No, you're not tripping, bro.
Why does it sound good?
I wish you were tripping.
Why would this sound good for them?
I don't know.
God. Okay. This next part is another chunk from
it does later. Feel like you're reading for like Blake Lively's side.
It's weird.
The weirdest thing. I don't understand it.
Okay, this question.
That's cool. Yeah, the junk farm saying it also sounds like a woman thinking that it was a big deal at the time. That's a really good point you're making. Like she remembered it because it was a big fucking deal. Obviously, it's a big deal. Producers
she
walking
grabbed a
in a
cape
Blake
real quick.
Lively. It's Blake Lively too. Like she's the star. She's the center of the universe in that situation. It's a big fucking deal. And stars, bro, can be so vicious when shit goes wrong for them.
I know. I've
to
heard
the
stories.
people around them.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if that's true about Blake Lively. I'm sure. I would guess it's not. I would venture to guess it's not. We hear a lot about it, certainly by now. But we do hear this about other actors. I've heard it time and again. I haven't witnessed it. I will say that. Yeah, go ahead.
I can't imagine.
Keep going.
Okay. Are you aware that Miss Slate had complained to Mr. Baldoni about him calling her or referring to her as sexy around May 18th, 2023? Again, this is the first month of shooting.
Yeah.
All of these allegations are happening in the first fucking month.
Yeah, well, that's why it came undone so quickly. I mean,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. He said, I'm not aware of that. Question, at any time prior to this litigation, did you become aware of that? He said, no. Did you ever become aware that Miss Slate had gone to Mr. Baldoni and said, I don't like that comment, please stop? He said, I don't know the details of that incident. Question, did you know that Miss Lively also around the same time complained to Mr. Baldoni about him referring to her as sexy? Steve Sarowitz said, I'm not aware of that. Question, would you be interested in what Miss Slate, I recognize you've said you don't believe anything Miss Lively says or something to that effect, or you find her incredible. What about Miss Slate? And Sarowitz said, I would not use the word incredible.
Because he doesn't know what it means.
Yeah. And then the lawyer corrects him, lacking in credibility. When I say incredible, is that a fair description of your views?
You can look it up in the Webster's fucking dictionary.
He said much better. He's being snotty.
Wow.
Okay, what about Miss Slate? He goes, I'm aware that in the course of any production that there's issues. I'm aware that Miss Slate had an issue. I'm not aware of the specifics. I'm aware it was resolved. And to my knowledge, there was nothing else brought up. So I'm aware that, I'm aware that in the course of production, there can be issues. And I was aware there was an issue with Miss Slate and that it was resolved. He kind of yammers a little. I can't say I wouldn't. The question, in determining
the number one definition of incredible is impossible to believe.
Yep, there you go.
You fool.
Steve Sarowitz learned something that day. In determining whether there were problems on the set, would it be of interest to you to know Jenny Slate's perspective on what happened that day? The witness said, I believe that will be up to the jury during the trial. In other words, I don't have time to get into every detail. I'm the chairman. I don't have time to get into every detail. I think at some point in time, I'll have time. We'll have kind of a whirlwind, 16-hour day thing with this case in addition to the other work I do, which is quite expansive.
Smoke some bowls.
Get a couple 40s, make it a day with my bros.
Chicken nuggets in here with all the fucking sauces.
The sauces. And so I haven't had time to look into detail. At some point in time, as we get further into the trial, this is obviously not answering the question.
No.
At some point in time, as we get further into trial, I may get more into the details, but most likely I'm not involved with the day-to-day operations. And the lawyer said, would you have wanted to know if Miss Toskovich had showed you this back in August of 2024 and said, hey, just so you know, Jenny Slate had a concern that she expressed to Justin on the set. Would you have wanted to know that? Sarowitz says, I was aware that Miss Slate had a concern and that concern was taken care of, and I was not aware that there were any further concerns. Okay, but you never talked to Miss Slate about that, I assume? He said, I have never talked to Miss Slate at all. And they go, okay. Steve Sarowitz continues, I didn't see her at the premiere along with the other actors. I have never talked to her before or during the premiere. I have never seen her. I have never met her, never spoken to her or met her. Have you read...
KK's like, him admitting that he was aware of issues on set after denying that he was
like,
aware of any issues on set. And the drug farm's like, well, oops, that's illegal. He's required to investigate.
Yeah, exactly,
it's
dude.
just fucking crazy. This is their summary judgment. They're fucking falling on their faces. This lawyer is the fucking most garbage fucking attorney. Go ahead.
Yeah, he does. He says, I was aware that Miss Slate had a concern and that concern was taken care of. Well, you answered before that you weren't aware of anything.
That's, oh my God.
Okay, the lawyer's asking, have you read Miss Slate's testimony in her deposition in this case? He said, I have not. The lawyer said, would you expect that Miss Slate's testimony about the sexy comment that had been made to Miss Lively would be similar or dissimilar from Miss Lively's description? And Steve Sarowitz said, I wasn't there. I don't know. And the question from the lawyer is like, would it matter to you? Would it matter to you? And Steve Sarowitz said, what would matter to me is that any problems or issues which occurred, as you mentioned, and I'll repeat your words, nobody's perfect, Justin included. Justin Baldoni's constantly talking about this. He says, I'm imperfect. I'm a work in progress.
Justin will tell you himself, he's a work in progress. I can't find the flaws, but it's important that he can. But to me,
he totally throws him under the bus too. He said, I will repeat your words. Nobody's perfect, Justin included. He's like, why am I in this? if like, it's like word association, somebody said, nobody's perfect. Steve Sarowitz said, Justin. And if Justin said something that was inappropriate or anybody says something because in the course of filming a film largely about sex, about a novel that has a ton of sex in it, if the word sexy was used inappropriately in that context, I would hope that would be rectified. And I understand that nobody's perfect and I would expect that would be dealt with. And I was under the impression that it was dealt with and handled.
So you did know about it. Somebody told you about it.
You didn't know about it.
When did you find out about it? Who told you about it? Where are those questions?
So you're kind of lying.
You are lying.
Okay. This next page.
Yes.
Starts with his answers cut off. He goes, problems. So I don't have enough information based on what you've told me as to how bad the problems were on set and what was done to resolve it based on the comments you have given me.
So okay.
No, he's digging himself into a hole.
It's just crazy.
You
dude.
cannot deny
I
the
thought
things.
You didn't know anything.
You have to tell the truth in a deposition because they'll fucking dig it out, bro.
They just know how to trip you, bro, because they know how to ask questions. Lawyers are smarter than you.
I know. Okay, question. Are you aware of a meeting that took place in New York on January 4th that Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath attended? This is the meeting I've been talking about with Dale all day.
Yes.
Where Justin Baldoni is telling his prayer group the next day that he got totally badgered.
Yes.
And that Ryan Reynolds yelled at him and that it was the worst experience of his life.
Of his entire life. What a fucking life this guy has
I
had.
know.
What a life.
I know.
Well, now that's been topped.
Steve Sarowitz said, I believe I've become aware of that through my attorneys. So the lawyer said, have you ever heard that meeting described as an ambush? Objection to the extent that the question calls for attorney-client communications. He just testified he heard it from his attorneys. You're instructed not to answer. The attorney said, I'm not interested in what you may have learned from your attorneys. Did Mr. Baldoni or Mr. Heath ever describe that meeting to you as an ambush? And he said, I don't recall. Have you ever heard that meeting described as an HR complaints meeting? He said, not to my knowledge, not to my recollection. Question. Well, why don't you turn to page 12 of the document we're in and look 5 lines down? It says page 12 at the bottom. Sarowitz goes, I got it. Just getting there. Sorry, the Bates numbers are not on this because it was produced in its native format. I've got this one. Sorry, they're sorting it out.
Yeah, they're working out the
It looks like we're on the same page. There's so much of this in depositions.
They got to get the yeah. It's you have no idea when you're sitting there the whole time waiting. You have no idea what the question is anymore. 15 minutes later, like, okay, we got it. We're ready to go. And it was like,
okay. So this looks like it's like one of those call sheets, like one of those like set management pages.
Yeah.
If you look 5 lines down where it says, and he's quoting Chris Sargent, first AD during phase 2, the note says, and he's reading, he was in the production planning meeting during HR complaints meeting on January 4th, 2024. Do you see that? Sarah says, who's Chris Sargent? And the lawyer says,
the guy who fucking saw you there. That's who.
Yeah. All I know is what is written here. And he goes, yeah, I'm not familiar with this. So the question is, did you know that there was somebody at Wayfair Studios who referred to the meeting that took place on January 4th as the HR complaints meeting? Sarowitz goes, I was never aware until this very moment that this was ever referred to that. And I'm unaware of any HR complaints that were filed. The question, Mr. Sarowitz, you've been handed what's marked Exhibit 9. It's a document, and then he's talking about the organization numbers. This is a text message exchange on May 28th, 2023 between Mr. Heath and Mr. Baldoni. You can take a minute to look at it. Okay. And Mr. Sarowitz, we just looked. Is this going to... Oh, it's going to cut off.
Damn you.
We just looked at the chart that had reference to Miss Slate and Miss Lively, and the sexy comments occurring between the first date we looked at it was around May 11th, and then the last day was around, and then it cuts off. Why would they want us to see that one either?
I don't fucking get it, dude.
It
I'm just
sounds so
amazed
bad.
by this.
Okay.
It's like they're trying to fucking lose.
Yeah, they're like, maybe they're just trying to get him out of the lawsuit because he's a dummy and he doesn't know anything.
Oh, wow. I mean.
Okay. Question. All right. So, Mr. Sarowitz, you testified earlier today, I think, but you'll correct me if I get this wrong, that you had lost a significant amount of money on the film as a result of what you believe to be Miss Lively's conduct. Is that correct? He said yes. And you put a dollar amount on that, what you thought you had lost? He said millions. I couldn't put an exact dollar. To be honest, I haven't done it because I just looked at this as something.
Because I've got so many. I mean, it's just crazy. They're just piled up everywhere, but at least
guessing.
2 bags are missing. That's just, get the fuck.
Yeah.
You're losing millions, but you don't have time to account
I got a cool
for it.
$500K under my bed. It's like it's everywhere.
It's like I'm losing millions of dollars, but I don't have the time to account for it.
I know. He said, I just looked at it as something I was not ever going to go after her for. Oh, well, aren't you sweet?
Like sometimes when I'm sitting and I lean back too far and the change falls out of my pocket, it's kind of like that. Only it's millions instead of the nickels we're talking about. But
I wonder if it's like that for the super wealthy.
It is.
Whether they're just like, shit, there's money.
No, they don't give a fuck. Dude, I panic when the fucking Georgia Power sends a fucking increase, which they do every other goddamn month. This motherfucker is like dropping millions of dollars and being, I guess it's fine, whatever. Just get, let me get a salad and go ahead.
Okay, so he said, what you thought you had lost, he said millions. I just looked at it as something I was not ever going to go after her for. The lawyer goes, and you said you were going to go after her for other things?
What?
He's tricking him.
Just walking into shit.
I know. And then he goes, you had asked me a question as to the things I was upset about. I'd listed them before. I don't know if you need me to list them out again, or we can go back to my previous answer. Okay. So Steve Sarowitz lost millions because of Blake Lively, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, well, he claims to. You know, I lost millions because of Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay, this is in reference to the questions cut off, but it says return to production letter that we were discussing earlier. He goes, yes. This is right around the time that letter was circulated. Is that right? Steve Sarowitz says, I don't recall, but perhaps. Question, did Wafer agree to meet these 17 conditions? Steve Sarowitz said, ultimately, we signed the letter under duress with a caveat saying that we didn't necessarily agree with it, but we signed the letter in order to get her back to work. But we had not done the things in the first place and continued not to do the things that were in the letter. He keeps saying we. He's
a company man. He's a company man.
You know how like in sci-fi there's like these beings who are like all one? Do you think that's what he thinks about him and his Baha'i brothers?
Maybe.
That they're all like one entity?
We. It's a Baha'i
It's
sect,
fucking
actually.
weird.
It's a Baha'i-inspired business. You know? He takes a shit and it's inspired by the Baha'i.
It's like that show Pluribus that we're watching.
Yeah, well, kind of.
But we had not done the things in the first place.
Recommend Pluribus early on.
And
We're 3 episodes in, digging it.
But we had not done the things in the first place and continued not to do the things that were in the letter. And the lawyer said, I will move to strike as non-responsive. My question was just whether Wayfair agreed to meet the 17 conditions, yes or no. Sarowitz said, we agreed to continue not to do the things we weren't doing. Question, was that letter of conditions something you considered to be sensitive? And he's asking, can you be more specific? And they've cut that out, but obviously one of the contentions is that letter was not meant to be shared with publicists. And we know that there's an email between Melissa Nathan sending this 17-point document to Jed Wallace.
Right.
So not only is it being shared out of Wayfair, which it never was supposed to be, but it's being shared and shared
with
and shared.
A fucking guy whose job it is to plant stories.
Who has a team in fucking Hawaii.
And that's probably what the judge is referring to in the dismissal when he said that it is apparent that Jed Wallace did in fact plant the things.
Yeah, because he was sent all this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, this next one. Let's look at the exhibit that you have in front of you, sir. Exhibit 12. It's a document bearing these organization numbers. It's a text exchange on January 5th, 2024. And this is the text chain that appears to involve some of the same individuals as the exhibit we just looked at, I believe. But if you notice a difference, please tell me. He said, I don't. Okay, so this is a text chain with some of the title at the top here. You see prayers and support. So this is the day after Justin Baldoni was berated at Lively's house with the 17-point.
Guys, it's Justin. Look into my eyes.
Is that the same title of the sort of text thread that we looked at the Exhibit 11? And the deponent says yes. The question, on January 5th, 2025, did Mr. Baldoni reach out to you to discuss the meeting that had happened the day before January 4th? And he wants some time to familiarize himself with the document. He said, I don't recall. Question, so you don't recall talking to Mr. Baldoni on or around January 5th about the meeting that happened at the apartment building with Miss Lively and Mr. Reynolds on January 4th? Steve Sarowitz said, I know we talked at some point in time. I don't know the exact date we talked. He goes, okay, you see, at 6:35 p.m. on January 5th, Mr. Baldoni sends a somewhat lengthy text message, which is on the page, Sarowitz 80, and then follows up, so he's navigating the documents. Is that description that you see here generally consistent with any conversation you ever had with Mr. Baldoni where he described the meeting to you like this? He goes, I don't recall. Question, you don't have, do you have any recollection of when the first time you learned about the January 4th, 2024 meeting? He said, I don't recall exactly when I learned about it. And then that cuts off. Well, you read that yesterday.
Yeah.
Do you want me to pull it up again? No, everybody's heard it. Okay. We're almost done.
Let me answer Connie DiCaprio real quickly.
This is great.
She said, do you think that if we'd have let Kevin in the edited Don's Plum, that Toby would have thrown him under the bus also? Yes, I do. Yeah. I believe that Toby Maguire needed to stop Don's Plum for his own reasons. RD and I didn't do anything wrong. I was a good friend to all of them. I was a good friend to people outside those circles. Everything was fine. So the only thing that makes sense is that Toby Maguire needed to kill Don's Plum for his own reasons. And I believe that was because his buddy, Leonardo DiCaprio, got offered Spider-Man, and Toby knew immediately that he was right for it and that Leo would never take that role. And so he knew he had, he had somebody to walk him right into James Cameron's office, because it was James Cameron who was at that time about to produce and direct it. Go ahead. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, this one's about Claire Ayub.
Lacey says Steve fell for their own smear campaign. That's hilarious.
Oh my God, that's so brilliant. It's true.
It's hilarious.
He got astroturfed. Steve Sarowitz got astroturfed
by his own fucking smear campaign.
It's fucking crazy. He paid $30,000 a month for that shit. Can you believe it?
Yeah, well, he didn't care about that. $30,000 a month is...
Okay, the question is cut off, but what I can read is, you had with Miss Ayub was before this occurred on September 27th, this conversation, or after? He said, I don't recall. Were you asked to have a call with Claire Ayub? He said, I know I did. I don't recall how it came up. Question, does it seem like the kind of thing that you would have affirmatively reached out on your own to request? And he goes, she was coming to show her film at the theater. I don't recall how the call came about. Question, if we had your calendar from September or August of 2024, do you think we might find a Zoom meeting or a meeting indication? Might we possibly find one with Miss Ayub? He said yes. Question, do you recall knowing when you spoke to Miss Ayub that there had been any problems on the set of Empire Waste? And he goes, I visited the set of Empire Waste and was not aware of any problems.
Oh, again! This guy, right? He shows up. Everything looks good.
Yeah.
Everything looks good. Look at you. Hey, what's your name? Oh, you're Darcy? I love you, bro. Hey, can you bring me a Sprite? Oh, you don't do that. Okay.
He said, but again, I don't run the day-to-day. Yes, we know, Mr. Sarowitz. You don't do much of anything. You don't do
anything. You're a fucking CEO. You're a worthless billionaire. You just sit there and like play with your joysticks.
Okay, so we'll mark this Exhibit 14. The document produced in its native format has okay, we're going to mark that. Let's see. And before we start playing that, Mr. Sarowitz, we've produced in this litigation a recording of this call. Have you received that production, the call you had with Claire Ayub? Yes. Have you listened to it? Yes. Have you listened to all of it? Yes. And I assumed you'd listen to all of it because you earlier mentioned that you were seeking to have it de-designated. Is that right? He said, it was not my decision to designate it, but I am okay with that decision. The lawyer goes, okay, how many times have you listened to the call at this point in time? He said once. All right, we're going to play just a little of it to ask you if this is the call, and then we'll stop and I'll ask you some more questions. All right, let's
Yeah,
stop.
he's like, yeah, that's me. That's Claire.
Is that your voice that you heard saying, it's been a long few weeks? Yes. And was the woman's voice speaking to you right before that Miss Ayoub's voice? Yes. And is that the recording of the call that we've been talking about here that I just played for you a small clip of? Yes. Do you know who Elise that was referred? And it cuts off. Why is that included? They're just establishing that it exists?
Yes.
God. Okay. Oh, they're establishing that the recording is true and that's him and they verified it. Okay. Well, that was 3 pages for nothing. Okay. They're reading something else.
Hey, man,
this question.
This is what we're doing,
It's
bro.
fucking
When we cover
depositions,
this
dude.
trial, bro,
That's what it's
you're
gonna
be
be.
standing in mud.
This is what I sifted through when I was organizing all your depositions. Okay. They're reading. And then later in the page, it reads, they went after everything we had. Luckily, I was out of it. So, like, nobody mentioned me. That's because I'm a nobody. Oh, so this is in regards to the call. In other words, referring to myself, I wasn't very important. Steve Sarowitz.
Agreed.
Yeah, you make sure of that. Question. Okay, thank you for that. How was Mr. Heath stopping what you viewed as the worst of the worst from coming out? Steve Sarowitz says, this is what our crisis PR people were working on. But he doesn't know. Is stopping the public attacks on us, the ongoing everyday public attacks on us. Question. Okay. Do you recall later in the conversation discussing with Miss Ayoub what had happened on the set of It Ends With Us? And Sarowitz said, I don't think I could have because I wasn't on the set of It Ends With Us, but is there anything in the document which would talk about that? And the lawyer goes, you weren't there? And then it picks up 2 pages later where Steve Sarowitz is answering, I was only there, as I mentioned briefly, for part of one day and just a few minutes on another, so I really wasn't on the set. Question. Would it surprise you to learn that when Miss Ayoub said, as they read, reading, I wasn't there, so I don't know what it's like, your response was, I was.
I remember that very well.
Steve Sarowitz said, can you refer me to the page? And the question is, the lawyer said, you don't have any recollection of saying to Miss Ayoub, I was there on set? Again, can you refer me to the page? And the lawyer is like, page 30 to 31. And Steve Sarowitz said, okay, just give me a second or two to read it, and I'll go back and I will go through as quickly as I can because I realize you're running short on time. And he's like, thank you, sir. Okay, and you see,
it's amazing because Ayoub was like, "Look, I'm totally blah blah blah. Obviously, I wasn't there, so I know I was." He said,
I was.
So he's testifying to her.
Yeah.
By the way, this is like really fucking important when you think about things like defamatory statements.
Yes.
You know, if he's testifying to her and saying that he was there, then that he is privy and witnessed, you know, some or any of these events, all or any of these events. That's fucking amazing.
It's amazing. These lawyers are fucking good, dude.
Oh my God, bro. I do not want to get sued by them.
No, don't get sued
If like
by
Leo
these guys.
sues me and it's like Gottlieb, I'm going to be like, God
Oh my
damn
God.
it. Of course, I have
I'll be
nothing-
like, we're moving to Europe, babe. We're just going to leave.
No way. I want to get sued by Leo. I'm going to win that shit.
She says, I don't know. I wasn't there, so I don't know what it's like. And you say, I was, right? We will have to be defensive for years. Wait, did I skip? I was. Okay, yeah, I did skip. Okay. No, I didn't. I'm sorry. I fucked up here.
Come on, man. We're 2 hours, 27 minutes in, and you're fucking up now?
You're fucking up. Okay, well, what happened was that the pages skipped. So they're continuing with this audio recording, and so the pages are skipping. So now at the top of this page, it says, we'll have to be defensive for years. They're quoting. It talks about, and they're reading, there will be stuff coming at us. Oh, this is his answer. Okay, so he says, he's quoting himself. He's reading the transcript. We'll have to be defensive for years. It talks about, and then he's quoting himself again, there will be stuff coming at us. So, and then he's answering. So I believe based on the context that this is very consistent with what I've said before, that I would defend the studio. That's what I meant by that. It's interesting that the Wayfarer parties aren't including what he actually said. They don't want it to be repeated again and again.
No.
The question, do you understand the difference between defense and offense? And Sarowitz said, yes. The lawyer asks, doesn't this go back to an earlier conversation we had about some of the tenets of your faith? The distinction between self-defense and retaliation? Let me try that a different way, sir. And then it cuts.
You fucking hypocrite. Let me try one other way. You
Okay, here's this very last page.
Yeah.
So this is out of context too.
The final page.
He's starting this question. The lawyer is asking, is saying, I will never ever, and he's quoting, I will never ever let up going after you for the rest of my career. Is that something that you want your attorneys to say to reporters at news organizations? Mr. Sarowitz says, I don't know the context, so I can't comment on something I don't have the context. I don't know what was done. For example, in the course of this case, someone threatened my daughter's life. If I knew who did it, I would say something similar to that, even as a Baha'i, because we're not perfect human beings.
Oh, we've heard. And seen, by the way.
So that explains everything.
Yeah, well, it also makes it all better.
It excuses everything,
yeah, because
too.
You're human, we understand.
There are things that are beyond the pale and people get angry. I'm sure you, like me, have a temper. And occasionally we say things we might even regret. So I would like to know what the whole context is before I can comment on it. Do you have any more context on this you can give me?
Hey, are some of the things that you say that are regretful, are they against the law?
Yeah. Was it in your role as an employer in the state of California where you had obligations you had to meet that are legal?
Any of them happen to violate some of the actual guidelines and rules in your own fucking handbook?
He's asking, do you have any more context on this? Where he said, I will never let up going after you for the rest of my career. Anyway, the lawyer says, I do not have any more context on this. Your attorneys do. Did you ever learn of anything horrific or terrible that Mr. Reese, I don't recognize that name, R-E-I-S-S, that Mr. Reese had done or said in public? Did you ever see anything that he said in, and it cuts off.
Well, who the fuck is that now?
I don't know.
R-I what?
R-E-I-S-S.
Mr. Reese?
Yes.
R-I-R-E-I?
There's so much to learn.
S-S?
There's so much.
Reese?
I think I got a handle on this case, and then they start bringing in new characters in
Who the fuck is Reese, man? Wait, what's season 3, you know?
Season 3. Okay.
All right, you guys. Was that the end of that?
Yeah, that was the end of Sarowitz.
We probably don't have time for too many comments because my ass is tired. Well, thank you. First of all, on behalf of all of us, thank you so much.
I want to read more. I'm bummed that it's the weekend and I can't just keep pounding you guys with this.
We can do a
It's so juicy.
We can do a special weekend edition if you want to.
Oh, if you want to, we
could
can
do a Saturday special edition during the Georgia game.
Yeah, it might be noisy.
We'll discuss that as we wind down tonight.
Our Scientist is very sweet. Said, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already.
Yeah, thank you.
Fel Baumling said, you have 666 subscribers, Dale. Evil.
You know what was happening is we got the 666, and then we got 2 more, and then 3 people fucking split. I'm hunting them down.
Because you're
and we
evil.
went back down to 665, and then I got a notification out of nowhere saying,
evil.
This person who does not look evil at all became our 666th subscriber.
So
oh
that's
my
like,
goodness, we've got a long way to go to get to 1 million, but I feel like we can do it.
Did you ever watch The Kids in the Hall?
Snowshoes.
Did you ever watch The Kids in the Hall? And then did you ever see that they did like a parody of one of those late night shows that was on like public broadcasting, where it was like what was his name? Simon and Hecubus?
No, I didn't see it.
Where he's like, Simon is the host, and he's basically like an Elvira type, who's like supposed to present all of the, evil story. You don't remember? Okay.
No.
I was just going to say that that's us.
Oh.
You guys can look it up. Simon and Hecubus and The Kids in the Hall is really
Let me tell you, man,
delightful.
I can't even tell you, I have a list of things that I was like, on our normal live that we'd go through. Like, there's so much shit going on outside of this. And we can't even touch it. But there's it was a Friday to remember, and we can't even get to this stuff. So, maybe we do a special hour tomorrow. We'll have to figure it out.
Yeah. Okay.
If we're going to do an hour tomorrow, then we'd probably be doing it at the same time, 6 to 8.
Yeah, sure.
If we do a special weekend edition.
I'm down.
Of Too Real Live with Dale and Angela. Well, listen, guys, I hope that was handy. Angela,
Are you signing off?
Aren't we supposed to?
Okay,
you're going to do some... You want to do some comments? Let's do some comments.
What I'm going to do is screenshot these.
Let's do some comments. Huh?
There's so many, and I don't want to
get to
these.
I know. It was difficult to get them all.
Okay, well, you read some, and I'll read some.
Okay.
Okay.
Kylie, what do you think if you like him?
Okay, I'm caught up to where we were earlier. Happiness in Your Life is saying, did Sarowitz say it, or does he not want to out Justin for lying, claiming he said it? Either way, he's not being honest.
That's just, I think, very obvious.
Austin said, like some abusive narc revealing himself in a deposition because they used an attorney who could mimic the wife's mannerisms. Well, I don't know what that's about.
Yeah.
Austin said, I'm sorry, I'm skipping.
No, because some of the comments aren't like relevant. They're just back and forth or whatever.
The Junk Farm said Sony's actions on this movie is like a masterclass in how to not get sued for SH. They were just like, they handed him a hot potato and they're like, not mine, they dropped it. Junk Farm said, same with Jones. Notorious Dragon Lady comes off looking like a saint. And hiring employment lawyer to make a chain of custody of the phone as officer of the court she was clearly going to sue. And ensured it was admissible. And then total cover your ass with the subpoena. A scientist said Jones was trying to warn everyone that Nathan was going to cause a disaster and no one listened. She's like Cassandra.
That's amazing. When you think about that, that's
Nobody
amazing.
believes Cassandra.
And the thing is that like it's her job to see the future in terms of, when things are going to go good or bad. Like that's what publicists do. As evil and shitty as they can be, they can see the storm before it gets here. So
Yeah.
she saw it and knew what was coming, and she knew that Jennifer Abel had had put a couple sticks of dynamite in it. It's fucked up.
Yeah. Steve Sarowitz, a scientist said Steve Sarowitz's sense of entitlement that his money gave him the right to force his way onto a closed set, regardless of whether Blake Lively, was upset about it or not. He didn't fucking care. She can send him a check, he says.
Well, essential personnel is very specific. It means that people only needed to get the scene done. That's it.
Are you capturing the sound? Okay, you're invited.
It doesn't matter how many billionaires are in the waiting room. None of them are allowed on the set in that kind of a situation. So you're right about his sense of entitlement, and the fact that he swings it around like a big dick is not going to fucking fly very well for him in a court of law. I don't think, because once they're going to bring experts in, and an expert's going to tell you what a closed set is. And so they're going to ask things like, what about billionaires? No. Or, financiers? No. Now, would you stop Harvey Weinstein in his heyday from coming on your set? You wouldn't have any power to do that.
Yeah.
But this guy's no Harvey Weinstein. Or maybe he is.
Maybe he is, bro. Who fucking knows, dude? He's not telling anybody. He can't even get his story straight, though. So whatever he's done, I'm sure it's going to come out somehow. These lawyers are more clever than him.
Yeah.
Basically every lawyer is more clever than the deponent. Like, you can't ever go into a deposition thinking you're going to pull one over on the fucking lawyers.
I've seen a couple of lawyers that were not very smart.
Yeah, but
a couple of lawyers that I was like, dude, I would eat you like corn on the cob.
But did the deponents get the best of them?
Well,
that
I don't
seems
know.
really difficult.
Maybe not.
It's not your house. It's not your show. Like, they're going to fucking have whatever they want. I mean, unless you tell the truth, then you're fine.
I felt like my deposition went really well.
Yep, I think so too, because you were telling the truth. A scientist said, kind of like how he wasn't sure who he said the metaphorical genocide threat to, because he was telling anyone who would listen about how he was going to destroy Lively. He couldn't keep track of how many people complained about Baldoni because there were so many. Your own text messages, in quotes, they have text messages including him about this.
It's
Delicate said
it's a bad deposition.
Delicate said because they know their cult followers won't read this.
They certainly will not.
There's a lot of people on the Baldoni side that have been like showing depositions.
Dude, I
sharing them, and I'm like, this doesn't sound good, you guys.
In what you call it? In It Ends with Lawsuits. I've been like quoting, parts of actual documents because it's clear they just don't read any of it. Like, they did not read the judge's dismissal at all. They just heard somebody tell them that it was based on technicalities and not based on merit of evidence or otherwise. And that's exactly the opposite.
No, they're making it so small now, which is so convenient. But you have to forget that Steve Sarowitz said he's going to spend $100 million to defend his studio from very, very small, like minor allegations. Come on. That doesn't make any sense.
No.
The Junk Farm makes a really good point here. Just remember that somebody on the set said, I think this was Heath, oh, I guess I missed the HR meeting. And it's kind of hard to spin that as he was unaware of that it was an HR complaint.
Well, there was two incidences of such a comment, because I think there's another comment which was, whatever, when Jamie Heath hugged somebody And he said at that time, "Oh, we probably shouldn't be doing that. We've already had our first HR complaint."
So you can't.
So I think there were 2 incidences, probably Jamie Heath on both of them, but it certainly was him named in that other one. I have no sources to cite on that. I just remember that quite distinctly coming down the pipe.
So what we've learned from Steve Sarowitz is that he wants everyone to believe he doesn't know anything,
Yeah.
but he does offer what he does know when it's convenient for him to answer a question
He's
to make
lying.
Lively be a bad person.
He's lying.
He's lying.
He
He knows a
told-
lot, and he's only telling the stories when it's convenient for him to frame her as a bad
The
person.
guy's dropping $30 million on one movie in that studio. You know,
I also
he's
think
already
that-
said that the studio was bleeding money. So, and he's dropping 30 million before that thing. You telling me he's dropping that kind of fucking money and not getting on the phone and finding out what's up?
I also think that
The
he
fuck
is
outta here.
also being protected, and there is a lot that he doesn't know. You know,
Yeah, I would.
I mean,
too.
if you had like this kind of like a blank check money bags in your pocket,
yeah, I'm not going to tell him. That
you
I
would
got-
be kind of like maybe compelled to be like, maybe he doesn't have
How's
to hear
everything going? Everybody is as happy as Justin.
Just great.
What do you mean? What a question! What kind of question is that? It's a Justin Baldoni set. Everybody loves Justin more than they love Raymond.
Alyssa says, I've been rewatching from the beginning where we're talking about a video of the Don's Plum trials. She says, I've been asking for them since day one.
It's coming. I'm
It's
telling you.
true.
I told you from day one it's coming.
KK says, it means that guy spoke in the press or on social media about Blake Lively wearing black biker shorts.
Yeah, I mean, we've had this conversation before. I'll say it one more time. There are 2 angles. There's the angle where they're looking up the between the legs, right? Which you would call the doctor's angle. In that angle, she's not going to wear pants. It would be very obvious that she can't give birth if she's in pants, which is what Justin Baldoni. So Justin Baldoni wanted her naked because he wanted that shot. He wanted that over the shoulder shot. And I'm telling you right now, he didn't give a fuck if it was going to make the movie. He just wanted to get this shot.
Yeah, but
He didn't get.
you know, you can't just make assumptions like that.
I can. It's my job.
I'm sure he's a very serious director and he tries his
he
best.
didn't say he wasn't a serious director, but why is he putting his friend between her legs then? So then, when they do the over-the-shoulder shot on Blake Lively's point of view, that would be where the doctor's getting his lines, right? Push, 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 whatever, breathe, breathe, breathe.
Yeah, Lamaze. Oh, yeah.
His Lamaze stuff, right? So the doctor going to go over the shoulder there. Well, when they're over her shoulder, she's going to be in bike shorts. So the only thing you're seeing is her shins. So when the story broke, the first thing I told you was, I guarantee you that they're saying that because they know that it's true that she was in biker shorts because they were shooting the reverse angle.
Mm-hmm.
They also fucking know that they shot the POV of the doctor, which means they got up the
They're
the
admitting
crotch
though
canal.
they dropped that whole allegation. So the motion for summary judgment is supposed to be what they are all admitting is undisputed facts. Okay,
Yeah.
and that's what all of their evidence is supposed to do for the judge.
Okay.
And they are saying that she was covered by a piece of fabric now.
Yeah.
So when before in their
It
fucking
was
amended
shorts.
complaint,
Yeah.
it was shorts, and they said that her characterizing it as a piece of fabric is unequivocally false, and they're very, very verbose about that. They fucking lied, and they admitted in this filing that that was a lie.
Indeed.
The junk farm. This is a great point. I mean, seriously, at what age do boys learn that they aren't supposed to walk into the girls' locker room?
Real early.
So when Jamie Heath is like, "Oh, makeup trailer," I'm just gonna barge right in.
Real early.
Hang
Real
on,
early.
this will just take a second.
Yeah, I that's a real early lesson for almost all dudes.
Also, the junk farm says, so her attorneys expressly threatened litigation, but that required no investigation. It doesn't make any sense.
No,
bro.
that's absolutely off the wall stupid.
You either feel like you have to defend your, your company with $100 million,
We already know
or
how-
you feel like there's nothing wrong
Right.
happened. You can't have both.
with the rage and whatever fervor or whatever
Yeah.
of the Israeli army, and he did not. There was no need for an investigation.
But
When
nothing
somebody's
wrong
threatening
happened.
litigation.
Crazy.
Meanwhile, he's telling this girl that people are going to die. They're going to be 2 more dead bodies.
Oh, this is
What a
interesting.
fucking psychopath.
Hinata said, someone being deposed wording in such an evasive way does not work like when a lawyer does. He will strike a jury as someone being dodgy and who's lying.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting because, they have this video testimony. And they're going to have it all queued up and ready
Yeah.
to go so that if he tries to fucking back out of any of it,
Yeah.
he's going to be met with...
It's also so contradictory, too. KK says, funny how he knew about the 17-point list, but not any issues on set.
It's impossible. That's impossible. First of all, so he read the 17-point document and then had no questions?
Mateo saying, so do you think that Baldoni is some sort of like Kaiser Soze, like usual suspect style?
No, I think he's... Well, maybe.
Okay, so the junk farm said, so Steve Sarowitz is 100% an idiot. How did he call a potentially hostile party like Claire Ayub and say that crap? I would be shocked if she didn't record that. It's brutally stupid.
He was calling her to intimidate her.
I believe that he was calling her to threaten her, and I think during the call she was so nervous and so like motor mouth that she completely missed that he was actually trying to like.
I don't know. She sounds nervous as hell through the whole call. She doesn't make sense of half of what she's saying. It sounds like nothing but nervous responses by her. I believe that she felt certainly threatened by the invitation alone, because this had obviously something to do with the trouble brewing on her set.
No, but when Steve Sarowitz explicitly says to her, nobody would ever have anything bad to say about Justin Baldoni. I think
like,
that was like
"No,
directed at her,
I
and she
know."
was like, "Oh yeah, totally." Like, I don't think she even heard it.
I know, yeah. Well, you're not gonna fucking, you're not gonna. That guy's got the power, and that guy's got he's the pain, And she's also fearing him at this point, especially after he said that he was gonna kill people.
Renata said, good luck convincing the jury that because an employee told the billionaire all is fine, that means nothing happened.
It's just the stupidest.
That's what I'm saying.
How did you make your fucking money,
Steve,
bro?
are you stupid?
Why can't I not be rich? Like I'm way smarter than most of these people. And I'm kinder. What the hell?
Junk Farm said, also
Let's go get some
saying
pie.
all the boys on set had a great time isn't really the great defense he thinks it is.
No, it definitely is not. We were happy. It was a Baha'i faith set. We're good.
Meanwhile, whenever anybody says like that the ladies were uncomfortable, his first response is somebody needs to tell them bitches where the money came from.
That's right. Well, it's true.
A scientist said, don't discount the possibility that the effusive praise of Baldoni was actually coming from Sarowitz and Sklenar was just half-heartedly agreeing.
I would almost venture to guess that to be fact.
He's great, isn't he? And Sklenar's like, yeah. And he's like, so he told me it was
Isn't
great.
it amazing to work with Justin? It really is. He's so intuitive and intuitive.
Yeah. Hanada said that's so annoying for a lawyer. The next question is nothing negative. So what exactly? It's tedious.
Well, I think it's I don't know if it's annoying. I would think a lawyer sees that as an opportunity immediately. Like for me, that's just exactly kind of the answer you want to get if you know you have somebody being evasive, or because you gotta trick them into. So when you say that, then it's like it's easy to come back with. Why would you think it would be negative? Who's giving you that impression? So on and so forth. I think it's interesting.
Also, the junk farm's making an interesting point. We have to keep our eyes on whether it's a lie about the part that they said that Heath was invited to her trailer. So if they're not expecting him, I mean, if Blake Lively is surprised to see him,
yeah,
I'm really interested in whether, because they're claiming that they were invited into her trailer, and that's why they showed up.
Well. That's why they asked.
I think there's different times. I think I'm conflating, or maybe they're conflating. I don't know.
We'll see.
The events.
We'll see. We know about the one where she was covered up.
Hinata said, "Is Sarowitz always this pissed, or he just hates Blake Lively because she confronted his darling Baldoni?"
Well, that and depositions mean you're being
he was being badgered. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's gonna he knows they're trying to trick him and all that. So.
A scientist said Dale the lawyer can only do so much with a shit show he's been handed.
Indeed.
Junk Farm said the stands are talking about how fire this motion for summary judgment is. Everything I read in this stuff deny granting a motion. Everything I read in this stuff denies granting a motion for summary judgment.
There's literally no chance. I mean, obviously, I'm exaggerating. I can't possibly know that, but it's just it's just unimaginable that any judge, let alone the judge that already threw out their case, citing their lack of evidence, is going to see this as anything other than, if they have a lack of evidence, defending her claims, then surely her claims have merit enough to continue to trial. So it's going to be very fucking interesting. But that's the question here: is after this document, is it obvious to the judge and to anybody and any other reasonable juror that that Blake Lively would not have a claim, or that these guys, have proven beyond any doubt that they had no knowledge of or participated in any of the allegations laid by Blake Lively?
Kindly DiCaprio is requesting that we watch Justin Baldoni's movies like 5 Feet Apart to assess him as a director.
I'm going to watch.
It Ends With Us.
It Ends With Us. I don't, as far as assessing him as a director, I don't know how I feel about him as a director already, because I just feel like he's a guy who it depends on the crowd around him for what he gets done.
Yeah. Also, there's
I don't know.
we saw 10 minutes where he was just supposed to do like a quick little dancing shot for a fucking montage.
But look, I heard his movies are good, and so yeah. I mean, I'm gonna watch I'm gonna watch It Ends With Us. I don't know if I'm gonna watch 5 Feet Apart, but I'm gonna watch It Ends With Us, and I'll give my impression on the film and its directing. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm sure it's fine. I mean, they had a super pro crew. They're shooting a fucking an A-list actor who got 10% of the gross. People are like, she's not A-list. She was never A-list. She got 10% of the gross, motherfucker. You don't get that shit unless you're A-list. Let me tell you that right now.
Yeah, you got to be able to negotiate for that.
Well, it's not like that, but like you can be the lead in the movie and ain't got to get no 10%. I bet you Pedro Pascal has not gotten 10% gross yet in his fucking career.
That's interesting.
So it's a big deal. That's a big fucking deal. And Pedro's like, if he's not A-list, he's A-list, he's A-list. All right, guys, should we go? Yes. It's been 2 hours and 50 minutes.
I enjoyed reading that. I want to read all of these. I mean, I want to go through all of the evidence and present it to people and talk about it.
You guys are addicts.
Because I had a blast.
All right.
I think that guy's buried, bro.
So we're going to get to, we might do another hour tomorrow. Or
I know.
two.
We should do Jamie Heath next.
And do Jamie Heath
he's
next.
going to trip over his own feet too. I'm sure of it.
Can't wait.
I know.
I just want to hear the hostility.
That was actually one of the longest documents too. So we can actually cover a bunch of them because they're shorter.
Yeah, we went through the bear.
Yeah.
We got through the bear. It's interesting that his is the longest, but I got to tell you.
Oh, I don't know if it's the longest. I haven't seen the rest, but I know his is long.
Or one of the longest.
There's some of the ones that were much shorter.
I mean, I imagine Baldoni and what's her face would be the longest.
We'll see.
You guys are wonderful. Glad to hang out with you again. If we don't see you Saturday, we will see you Monday. But just keep your notification.
I think I'd like to. Should we just plan it
for tomorrow?
Yeah.
Tomorrow at 6 p.m. We're gonna be here.
It might be noisy outside, but we can deal.
We're gonna come and do a special weekend edition of Too Real Live, covering the Justin Baldoni Blake Lively dispute regarding sexual harassment on the set.
This is Casey Kasem.
This is Casey Kasem.
Let's go.
All right, you guys are wonderful. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good night. Good night.